Hi everyone, welcome to the Claret Standard Guide that should have come out forever ago. Claret Standard, or CAS for short, is my favorite category, and I just hadn't gotten around to making a detailed guide for it. Here we finally are. Claire's scenario is very unique from Leon's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, she's faster, which obviously we're big fans of. She has her own set of items and path to take through the game, which changes where we go a bit. And finally, she has super cool boss fights towards the end of the run, which I'm excited to show off and explain. This guide's going to be similar to my previous Leon guide, but hopefully a bit more streamlined and intricate. Firstly, I'll jump into an explanation of the setup before running, then I'll go over the important movement tech in the run. Once I finish up explaining the basics, I'll do a pretty simple, live commentated summary of the run, going over necessary pickups, routing, and the boss fights. The live commentated portion of the guide will also be interlaced with a much deeper dive into the trouble points of the run, as well as color-coordinated strat variations calibrated for beginners and more advanced runners. There will be timestamps in the video and in the description for jumping around to certain segments. Finally, capping off our intro here, here's a little visual aid to help explain what level of strat you're seeing. These will be located in the top right corner during the detailed explanations for certain areas. Jumping right into the setup here, we're gonna do a Downpatch for Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's extremely easy and very quick. The reason we do this is because enemy RNGs are different on the latest ray tracing patch of the game, and stair skating is a bit slower. So to Downpatch RE2R, just go on Steam here, right click the game, go to Properties, Game Versions and Betas, and select the DX11 non-ray trace version. It's quite literally just as simple as that, and then you'll have a download, and then you'll be on the older version of the game. Okay, a couple more programs here. Livesplit, this is the timer that we use for speedrunning. This is not required for this game, but it's highly recommended, especially if you're pushing for fast times. Definitely use Livesplit. Everything here, everything that I talk about, if it has a link, I will have it linked in the description, so don't worry about that. Just go here, livesplit.org. Go to Downloads, download Livesplit. The first time you open it, it's going to be very bare, not looking like this, no splits or anything. Just right-click, edit splits. You can also download splits from the speedrun.com page or from the Discord. I might, at one point, link splits directly into the description. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, anyways, if you need help with any of this as well, please join the Resident Evil 2 Remake Discord, speedrunning Discord. Obviously also linked in the description. I can help you in the comments, but it'll be much better if you go to the Discord. There's plenty of people in there. And yeah, so that's Livesplit. Next up we have SRT. So SRT is a tool we use in-game that shows us a lot of very useful information, like enemy HP, player HP, your difficulty adjustment level. I have 3 here that I want to show. This one is very simple. It is the easiest one to set up. This one contains what I just told you, except it doesn't have an inventory overlay. This program overlays directly into the game, so if you don't have 2 monitors, this is a very good one to use. Simply go here onto this GitHub, go here, download this, and it's going to give you a file. Where is it? I'm blind. Okay, there it is. So it's just going to be, this download is just going to be this dinput8.dll, and you're just going to put it in your native game folder. You can get here by going through Steam. Right-click the game, Properties, Installed Files, Browse, and this will take you to your native game folder where you can put the file. And that is literally all the setup that is required for this SRT. And you can open it with Insert on your keyboard. This one is also overlaid into the game, but it has an inventory display. So go to this GitHub. You can download here, of course. This will download quite a lot, but you'll have the SRT plugin manager that you can open. Click on SRT host, scroll down to Resident Evil 2 Remake. You can install both of these things here, the plugin and the host version. After you've installed the SRT host 64 here and the plugin, you want to go over to User Interfaces, Resident Evil 2 Remake DirectX, and install this as well. This is important for it overlaying into the game. Once you've installed the user interface here, you can go back to SRT host, and you should be able to launch the SRT, start SRT here. If you do this with your game open, it should come up with an overlay in-game showing your player stats. And finally, once you have opened up the SRT and launched it before, you should have this folder pop up in wherever you have the SRT installed. You should have probably SRT plugin provider RE2, and this one, RE2 DirectX overlay. Now in this file, there is a config file, which if you open up here, has a bunch of things you can set and change. Most importantly being this one, this line here, no inventory. You want to set this to false, and this will show the inventory overlay in game as well. And for the third one, this is the one that I use. This one is for people if you have two monitors. This one is my favorite, and I think it's the nicest looking one. Here, this is a mega linked in the description. You download this file here. This file contains the SRT and also the files that you need to downpatch your game further, because this SRT requires an even further downpatch than the one prior. The steps for this is just to download this. It'll come with an exe file, and what you're going to do is you should have rechunk_00.pack.patch 007 in your native game folder. For this SRT, you're going to want to delete 007 and then take the exe from this download and replace this exe in the native game folder. And that will allow you to launch the SRT here in this one. And that one pops out a little window. And assuming your game is open, it'll pop out and it'll have inventory overlay plus your health plus DA rank and enemy health as well. And finally, just before we jump into the game, I'm going to show you how to cap your FPS. I'm going to show you how to do this through NVIDIA Control Panel. I've already shown how to do it with Riva Tuner and Afterburner, and I will leave a link to my previous guide in the description for that. So for capping your FPS with an NVIDIA graphics card, just open up Control Panel right here. Go to Manage 3D Settings, Program Settings, scroll down and find re2.exe. And you can scroll through this menu here and find max frame rate. And just set your frame rate to 120. We unfortunately have to do this because in-game there is only a 30 FPS cap, a 60 FPS cap, and an uncapped option on versions prior to the ray tracing version, which unfortunately is not optimal. And once you're done with that, just hit apply and you're good to go. To enable the Steam FPS overlay, press Shift and Tab while in-game to bring up the Steam overlay. Go to Settings and click on this drop-down menu to enable FPS display. In case you are unfamiliar with what stair skating is, the characters have a very slow, unique animation for moving up and down stairs. By tapping aim in a rhythmic fashion, we are able to cancel this slow animation, making us go much faster on stairs. Claire has two unique stair skating animations. Unlike Leon, one of Claire's two unique animations is significantly faster than the other. The first clip shows Claire's slower stair skating animation. This next clip shows the faster animation. In order to get the correct animation, your camera must be adjusted just very slightly to the right before tapping aim. Here we have another important piece of movement tech, which is quick turning. Here you can see I'm shifting 90 degrees instantly, rather than the very slow manual turns. So the way we do this is by letting go of W for a brief moment, and then tapping the direction we want to go. You can do this with A, D, or S, so left, right, or backwards. And then after you tap the direction you want to go, you tap aim. So you do it in one very quick motion. Let go of W, tap the direction you want to go in, and tap aim at the same time. You can also perform quick turns without using an aim tap, and this is very useful for going through doors. The next piece of movement tech here is called shift boosting. After I explain shift boosting, I'm going to explain shot boosting as well, which is just an extension of a shift boost into a gunshot. So if you'll notice, when you hold shift and then press a movement key like W, Claire will do this weird stumble animation. But if you hold W first and then hold shift, it will transition cleanly from walking into running. So you'll go from the walking velocity into the running velocity instantly, rather than have the slow stumble prior to going to max velocity. Like I said, moving on from shift boosting, we're going to talk about shot boosting. As I just brought up, it's essentially the same concept. If you do not let go of shift while you're shooting, Claire will do this stumble animation once you get out of aiming. So to prevent this, if you let go of shift while aiming and then begin holding shift again, as soon as you stop aiming, there will be a smooth transition between aiming and running. Alright, quick little reminder here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a live commentated sort of watch through of a run I recorded for this video. There is going to be timestamps on screen to visit more detailed explanations of the problem points of the run. I want this part of the guide to be a very straightforward explanation of where we go, which items you need to pick up, that sort of thing. It's not necessarily getting into the nitty-gritty, the details, the things that are going to make you faster in the long run. That'll be for a different part of the video, but again, there's timestamps that will be on screen for visiting certain problem areas, like, for example, this first gas station zombie. So he's pretty straightforward in the video here. We're just going to shoot him in the head and run by, but of course there's a lot of different things that can happen with him. He can stumble and be in your way. You might have to change the line you take and such. So that was gas station. Very exciting stuff. I'm going to do a little speed up through some of the more, well, maybe not boring parts, but some of the simple things, like running from point A to point B. Here we're going to let this armless zombie bite us 2 times, which is going to put us in the caution health range. Claire and Ada and Jill and 3R all run quite a bit faster in the caution health range. Run by this guy. Got lucky there, of course. Heading into RPD main hall, we pull that lever and interact with the shutter. There's a cool trick here you can do with the shelf, where if you hold one of your interact buttons and mash the other one, you will get onto the shelf as soon as it is possible to get onto it. That way you don't have to time your interaction. After interacting with the shutter here, we're going to run to the right and pause once we reach a certain point. The reason we do that is because that zombie is on a real-time timer for bursting through the door, so his timer actually progresses while we're paused. You can just run through those 2 zombies there.
So nobody knows what.
Meeting up with Marvin for the first time. He gives us our first knife. Earlier, when I was taking the 2 bites to get into caution, I wasted 2 bullets. You can also waste them here at the shutter. Do a little quick turn at that corner to avoid the corpse. We're heading to pick up the spade key. Slow it down a bit. 2x is a little fast. Quick turn, stair skates. Very tough enemy encounter there. Causes a lot of resets, unfortunately. Alright, so picked up the speed key just now. Now we're heading to the library. Have a little radio call here. Once we reach this corner, I'm going to hold A or left. This is faster than walking backwards. And then just before we're falling through, I turn my camera and turn Claire so that she's facing this direction, running towards the speed key door. I'm going to go back and show that again. The reason we do this is really important because this lady zombie here is really annoying. If you turn and face this direction, and don't move your camera at all, you can also flick it around a lot, but I find it a lot easier to just not move the camera. While you're falling through, she will basically just sleep, and you can run by. There's going to be some cases where you can't just get away with that, but right there, it's fine. Heading to the first medallion. Solution is lion's head, leaf, bird. Continuing on. Do a little movement technique to avoid that stagger from the helicopter, or for the stagger to push us forward. We're going to waste a bullet there and discard the gas station key and move the handgun and pick up the bolt cutters. This is a good point to pause and check your inventory and make sure yours looks like mine. So I have 5 bullets exactly. I have the bolt cutters in the first slot. I have the spade key down. I have the lion medallion down and to the right, and a knife over in slot 4. Here in this room, we're going to grab the valve handle and the fuse on the other table here. And we're going to pull this chair off the door and put the fuse in this panel. Hopefully you don't mess it up like me. Heading back into main hall here. We're going the same way we came earlier when we were grabbing the speed key. Do another quick turn here. And you can quick turn at this corner and hug the wall, and it'll avoid the corpse staggering you. Here we have a huge problem point with the zombie. He's just chilling. I do a little pause around the corner to check because sometimes he's in an impossible spot. Run by him. He was free. Use the bolt cutters for the last time. Discard them. Pick up the detonator. Once we come through this door, there's another zombie, the vending machine zombie. He can be a problem. It's quite rare for him to be a problem, but very important to mention because I've been got by him plenty of times, and I've seen many others get destroyed by that guy. Use the valve handle in that room to clear the steam. Here we're heading into the STARS office to pick up the battery. Of course, we have the STARS liquor, Randy Orton. Keeping the camera focused on this liquor here to make its AI chill out. As you can see, it's not chill at all. Nothing you can really do about that. It's just a rough part of the game, but more explanation later. Unicorn medallion, fish, scorpion vase. That's the solution for that one. Heading back into the library, we're going to pick up that knife. No zombie there. We got good RNG. Now we will push the shelf. Just the one time for now, for later when we come back into library during RPD2. Do a little W tap into this prompt because when you get close to certain walls, it will slow you down, and you can avoid it by doing an aim tap or a W tap. We'll avoid this explosion here with some cool movement tech. Maiden medallion, solution is woman's face, bow and arrow, and snake. This liquor is going to come through the ceiling. We're just going to stare up at the ceiling, and it pretty much deactivates him. Well, it doesn't, but it doesn't, he can't jump backwards or lick us. This ladder is just terrible. It's absolutely miserable. I'll explain more later. But yeah, as you can see, I almost got grabbed by both of those zombies there. Heading back into main hall from library, we are going to put the 3 medallions in. And head into the secret room. And that will conclude RPD 1. Okay, and picking up from post RPD 1, using a different recording because the RPD 2 and that previous one went terribly. We're headed to G1 now. So for G1, we're just going to start the fight shift boosting towards G1 and then pulling out our knife and looking straight down at the floor, kind of perpendicular to Birkin. I'm going to explain this a couple times because a thorough, detailed description of this fight, well, it's kind of hard to give. It's very straightforward. You run at him, go at an angle, look straight down, and just knife him until he dies. So here we do 7, looking at the same angle, and you can see after the 7th is when he starts turning. So it's when I start turning with him. And you can see I just kind of turn my camera left a bit, and turn back with him. 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn with it. Just making sure the knife is going through his whole body there. Want to aim for 14 to 16 slashes. It's possible to get him in 13, but it is quite difficult. So what I recommend for this fight is literally to just watch this over a few times. It's incredibly simple on Claire, but it's still easy to mess up if you don't know exactly what you're doing. It's just all about getting the proper knife angles. Knife angles and understanding how to use the knife correctly are a huge part of this run that just doesn't get talked about enough. But in this case, this one is quite simple. So. There is a hip pouch coming up here in this locker on the right. That is a bit of a safety strat that I will go into a little bit later. Running up to this kiosk, canceling out. Okay. Now we're headed into the kennels, except they're filled with lickers instead of dogs. Running through this door, making sure our camera is centered. Movement was a little messed up there. There's another licker on the ceiling here. We just have to take very precise lines. Obviously, go to the timestamp on screen for a more detailed explanation of what's going on here. Pulling this guy out and grabbing the diamond key. You can use a little visual cue on the floor here to figure out when you can stop pulling it out. I use this, I'm not sure what this is called. When you see this bar reaching around this part of the tile on the floor here, just before this line is what I use for my visual cue. You can actually go like in the middle of this tile, but better to be safe than sorry. You can also just pull it fully out. Small time less. We're talking about important details for saving the maximum amount of time, but for most people it's fine to just, pull out to here or in this general area. Alright, we got the diamond key. We're going to put it in the D slot for optimal inventory. Here, when we're heading back into the kennels, you can see I literally paused it perfectly. You want to run until you basically reach the doorknob with this strat. Again, we'll give more details later, but you want to run into the doorknob before you quick turn. Head towards this. Oh, I forgot I did the shot minute in this run. Shot minute makes this room a bit easier. That was kind of scary though. We're gonna quick turn this corner, turn back, walk a little bit, and then run, because that way it will grab you otherwise if you just try and run through. Heading into this control room for the elevator. Heading through Iron's office to grab the heart key here. Going to this door, examine it, spin it around, get the heart key, unlock this door. Heading up these two staircases. And we're going to pick up the first electronic box along with the knife and the large gear. This zombie is quite a bother outside of this heart key room door, but it is really just a simple headshot and run. This is a huge problem point for both beginners and people who have been around for a while and in this category a lot. So, important little detail here, after picking up the large gear and coming back out, you want to open this locker as you go by. And grab the bullets from there later. Down the ladder, down these stairs. Back up. That lady can be a bit of a problem if you get really unlucky, but it's extremely rare. Here we have our first encounter with Mr. X. We're going to do the safe dodge, which is just aiming at him from a certain distance away and not moving at all. And he'll always do that sweeping punch attack, and you can dodge for free. This is probably the most challenging bit of RPD2, I would say. Coming through here and coming back through here is extremely reset heavy. Here you can see I messed up opening the door there, which made me get hit by the liquor. This is okay though, because we are actually able to take one hit in the run. Here we're using the heart key again for the last time actually. And we will discard the spade key once you open this door, and then move the large gear up so that the large gear is on top and the keys are in the bottom two slots there. I'll grab the library jack handle, turn back through here. In this office here, the zombie is sometimes right in front of this door and you'll have to shoot him. I wasn't there this time. Mr. X was at the door here in this run, but I was aware of it, so I was ready to bait his attack and run by. You have to be careful at this part of the game. It's very hectic. Library shot minute is very important. There's a zombie inside the library that will get manipulated by you shooting right here. So just before you reach this sofa, or just as you reach the sofa, this manipulation is really not specific. You just have to shoot in this general area once you hit this point, and then proceed through library as normal. As you can see, this big zombie here is just totally stunned. He has no idea about anything that's going on, and we're just comfortable, and we can run by. Use the library jack, and then we can move these three shelves at the same time. Head up the ladder and towards the clock tower. There's a zombie outside clock tower here. Kind of just gonna ignore him and head in the room. There's a strategy where you can bait a grab from that zombie, and by baiting the grab, he won't be in our way when we come back out. Heading up here, grab the small gear, put the large gear in. Back, put the small gear in. This is going to give us the second electronic part, and we're just gonna head out, check in to see where this guy is. It's a bit scary there. We just run by. Same for this guy, he's just right on the edge of grabbing us, but with some precise movement you can get by no problem. Heading back through here, just stick to the left and this guy will never grab you. More precisely, stick. Actually, let's dive into this guy a little bit here. Stick to the middle, but aiming to the left, and this guy will never grab you. He'll always do the same lunge here, where he just misses you. Grab the bullets here. Kind of fudge the movement a little bit there, all good. Alright, so now we're going to do the electronic puzzle. So we examine both boxes, put both pieces in. Nice little slow take through of the inputs for the electronic puzzle here. You want to do down, down left, left, but 3 times, down left, down right, and that will solve the puzzle. Let's do that again one more time. We'll do it slower this time. So once you put the last piece in, down, down left, left times 3, down left, down right. Puzzle solved. Right. So we have the Sherry puzzle here now. Lots to say about the Sherry puzzle. There's a wonderful tool made by Palm that is linked in the description to sort of help you practice the Sherry puzzle. Also, funny quirk about this puzzle, you can see what you need to solve in this cutscene here. So you actually can pause this cutscene and check what pieces you need to move. But I'll sort of do a basic explanation of the Sherry puzzle here. So we're going to grab the doll, examine the doll, put the last piece in. This last piece always goes here. The solution for the Sherry puzzle is random, so each of these pieces will need to be changed a certain number of times. The only thing that's static about this puzzle is that you need to move the first block over to the 3rd slot. Don't know why that is so messed up. The only piece you have to move is the 1st to the 3rd. The other ones just need to be flipped up and down. So one more time. The only motion you need to do horizontally is moving the 1st block to the 3rd. I messed up there. But from there, you just need to solve each piece vertically. We'll do a deeper explanation of this, of course, at the timestamp. So we got the scissors, and we're going to use them. Crouch through here. There is some tech here to get Sherry to climb perfectly every time. Once again, on the timestamp. We're pretty much just going to speed through this section because for the intents and purposes of a guide like this, a simple explanation of Sherry is just run over here, hide, grab the key, run away. There's some very deep, complex movement to Sherry's section, surprisingly. And I think it's a piece of time saved that people miss out on a lot. But yeah. Fun fact here, you can stand the whole time and Irons will not see you.
It's all over now. Doors
There is an exception to this rule on hardcore, but you can actually just stand and rotate around this little spot here, and he'll never see you. If you do it correctly, of course. Right, so we're gonna go over here next to this rug and this these giant Lego blocks. You can stand right here and it's perfectly safe. Just make sure you're not too far to the left or too far forward. I like to position Sherry's left foot on the carpet there, and just stand right here. You'll be fine. He can't see you here. And here he's gonna run by us. There is a little technique here where if you shift boost, you get a little boost here towards the door, but definitely don't do this unless you're pushing for top times. This is totally unnecessary. Also, quick little mention here. As you're grabbing the key, there is a meme that can happen where you can get 2 keys. This meme only happens if you mash, if you interact a bunch of times with the door at once. If you just time your interaction with the key pickup once, you will never get the double key. Oh, actually, hold on. I totally forgot to mention this. When you're going up and down stairs, well, just down, actually. When you're going downstairs as Sherry, you can speed it up by tapping A and D repeatedly as you're going down them. As you can see there, it's called the Sherry wiggle. You want to be careful though, because when you reach this this big post at the bottom of the steps, you can easily stumble into it. So just be careful you don't AD too much. Running away from errands. Alright, and that concludes Sherry's section.
Good to see you again, Claire.
Coming out of the cutscene, we are going to grab the parking garage key card. Okay, small little beginner route choice here. Since I took damage in RPD, I'm going to grab this herb. This herb will be a precaution for the bus dog in a little bit. And if we don't use it on the bus dog, we can make use of the urban sewers by lowering our DA a little bit more.
You again?
Here we put the parking garage keycard in and X spawns. If you're full health, you have the option of letting him punch you there. But seeing as how I wasn't full health, I actually couldn't tank the punch, so I just baited it out and move on. Running through the streets here. We have 2 zombies at this little fence. Just gonna shoot the one in the back in the head. You can do that very safely. Take your time with the shot. Do not rush it. It's all good. Stair skating down these stairs. This lady is basically never an issue, except for when you get stupendously unlucky. I think I've had it happen once on standard, or maybe never had it ever happen on standard. I'm not too sure. But just stair skate down those stairs and hope you don't get gloriously unlucky. And through the basketball court. There's a dog here. He has 2 RNGs. One where he charges directly. Well, actually he has a bit more than that, but here you can see he just kind of sat there. I'm gonna pick up this grenade in the bus, shoot this guy in the head, and we have the almighty bus dog who just is doing nothing here. There's timestamps for the 2 big problem points there. That would have been on screen there. Moving back through the orphanage, run into irons. Cool little trick here, if you run backwards with your camera pointed towards Claire, you can actually grab this ladder prompt instantly. Saves, I think, over half a second maybe. Head down this ladder, stairs get down these steps. Skip a couple cutscenes, run to the left, and we're in the sewers now. Hopping up this ledge towards the monitor room. This is a pretty strong problem point for Claire's scenario, but it does really just boil down to shoot this first zombie in the head and run by. You want to stray very much to the right here, because the second zombie can grab you if you're not cautious. So just stay a little bit to the right, swerve back in so you can get down here into the main hub of sewers. I'm gonna run over and pull that lever. Waiting for this bridge to come down, do some cool movement tech. And here we're gonna grab the T-bar handle. You can see I slot it into the one slot down. That is the ideal spot to put it in. And we have two zombies at the bottom of the stairs here. Just gonna headshot that guy and run by. Much harder than it looks. And because we still have this herb in our inventory, I just let that zombie bite me and use the herb. It's super good for DA, for late game, but actually totally unnecessary on this category. We'll run by this G-Adult here. You want to make sure you're not too far to the right. You can be in the middle of the aisle there on Claire. On Leon, you have to be much more to the left, but you can still get staggered by that guy if you're too far to the right. We are gonna grab the hip pouch here and grab the first chest puzzle piece, the rook. Always prefer to put this, it's just the general most optimal thing is to put this rook in the slot that I show in the video. It's, for later on, it's SD to get to that. There's a pack of bullets in that, in this room here that I point to. Running by it right there. It's just to the left. You can grab it if you need bullets. And back down in the sewers. The G-Adult can sometimes be at that ledge. It's generally not a problem though. Zombie coming out of the water. Got this guy. This is just a whole mess. This will require a lot of talking about later on, but for now, yeah, I mean, just get by. Do your best to get by. If you get grabbed, it happens. I think everybody has been grabbed there numerous times. If you get grabbed, there is an herb just there. Alright. Another big problem point in sewers. Double G-Adults here. I actually had no idea what I was doing with this strat. Completely lost. Just didn't even know how to do the beginner strat, because I learned this category later and I just went with optimal strat straight out of the gate. So definitely don't do what I did there. And go to the timestamp and watch how it's actually meant to be done. So we're grabbing the queen first here, plug it in here, heading up to grab the king, drop down, grab the queen back, run it over here first, use the queen, head Back inside this area, use the king. And we can run backwards here, grab the queen. Quick turn, quick turn, quick turn, grab the king, quick turn. And we're out of the king-queen room. Very cool technique here. As you're dropping down this ledge here, point your camera left and hold aim. Hold right click. In this case, it actually probably didn't do anything, but basically if you aim while going down this ledge, it will manipulate the G-adult that could be in the way to spit babies. We want the G-adult to spit babies. It does this huge loud sound and shakes its head all around, and for the intents and purposes of the speedrun, it just deactivates them and we can just run by. Otherwise, they will grab you because their hitboxes are just bad. We're going to do a safe strat there for that G-adult. That is the beginner strat that I would recommend. Earlier on, depending on what kind of zombies we had when we came back through this area, they may be on the stairs. In this case, they were not. They were totally passive, but basically, the closer they are to you as you head towards the king and queen plug, the more likely they are to be on the stairs later. You have to be consciously aware of that when you come back through. It's a huge, huge disappointment when you get through all of sewers just to be met with a zombie at the stairs. You just get grabbed and you lose 3 weeks, and it sucks. I'm gonna go back here and show the solution again for this chess puzzle. In the middle right, we want to put the queen, pick up the bishop, top right, put the king in, middle left, grab the knight, put the rook in, top left, put the knight in, bottom left, put the bishop in. This is straightforward. We're going into G2 now. We have an herb there. I'll show that again for those who missed it. There is an herb here. You can grab it for the fight. Wouldn't recommend grabbing it for the fight. Just grab it if you get hit during G2. We have this switch puzzle. I do left, right, right. We have a huge trick here. By throwing a grenade at this spot, just as G2's arm comes through the ceiling, it will deal... Thank you, VLC. Let's try that again. By throwing a grenade here in this spot, just as his hand pops through, we will deal 5.4% damage to G2. You can see G2's health right here, the one with 22,700. And that totally skips him throwing his hand through the ceiling over and over and over again. Saves, I don't know how much time it saves. Probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Should have known you wouldn't die.
Obviously, again, please go to the timestamp on screen for a more detailed deep dive into G2. We passed on the left side of the shutter for Claire. We run to the bridge. We bait out his attack here. We got the triple swing. Wait him out. Knife slash. It's all about knife angles. You want to make sure your knife is traveling through the enemy you're slashing for the most amount of time possible while you're dealing the knife slash. Alright. And the deal with G2 is if you get him below 50% HP, you can see very not clearly because this video quality is really, really poor here, but you can see he has 11,980 health or 49.9% health. You need G2 to be 11,999 or lower for him to get one-shotted by the crane. So, what did we do here? Let's go back we bait out his attack, hit him a whole bunch. Once we get him to around 83%, he's gonna stagger and fall down, and we have all the time in the world to knife him as much as possible. This is timed out so that we can press the button just in time as soon as it's possible to press the button again, and then get that little last bit of health out so we get him below 50%. He's gonna do this charging attack so long as we've done everything well, and we can just bait out his swing. Make sure to truly bait his swing, like let him run towards you and then run away. We're gonna grab this knife first and then the flash. Oh, also important to mention, you want to grab the bullets that are in this arena as well. You want to grab the bullets first for the optimal inventory. This goes bullets, knife, flash for the optimal inventory. And we'll just turn around and he'll get hit by he'll get Regina Georged. Shout out to the knowers. And that was the G2 fight. Heading back through the locked door, we're gonna pick up Sherry, and we're just gonna run for a while. You can quick turn with Sherry. Don't aim though, just tap the direction you want to go. In this case, I'm tapping A to turn left. Headed to the cable car. I had quite a lot of bullets here, so I was able to waste a couple. You can enter labs with 15 bullets. More is fine, less is probably also fine, depending on the strats you're using. Bullet count is really not a huge deal on this. Alright. And we're going to bring Sherry in this room. We're going to get this prompt to grab the wristband. Should go in that slot. This first part of labs is very straightforward, and there's no real harms along the way if you're running the optimal way. We're gonna go ahead and grab this knife in the kitchen. This zombie can be quite a pain. In this case, not so much. Just there, you can see after combining the wristband and shooting this guy in the head, getting a stagger, what I do is pretty much right after shooting this guy, I discard this knife and move the bullets over to the slot that it was previously in. You can see on the inventory SRT, or the SRT inventory, the bullets right there. Depending on what route you do, you can keep that knife as a safety for labs. That is a recommended beginner strat that I will show. But in this case, for the optimal inventory, we are discarding that knife. Running back through here, we have our first ID wristband upgrade, so we can go across now. This to extend the other bridge. Here's another spot where you can waste bullets if you have too many. Just right at this door here. Running past our first Ivy, which just does nothing. Heading into the lab codes room, we're going to pick up this flash. Do a nice little slow code there. Solution for the first one was 3123. The second code here is 2067, and once we put the lab codes in there, we will run over here and grab the empty container. to the water puzzle here. The solution for this on the A scenario is just red button, green button, blue button, red button, green button, blue button, red button, green button. Or in a more simplified way, RGB, RGB, RG. We have our first real IV encounter outside here. For IVs, all you want to do for IVs is just shoot their yellow bulbs. It staggers them for quite a long time. If you are not able to connect with their yellow bulb and you shoot them and they do stagger, we would call that a crit. I'm not actually positive if it is a crit, but for what we call it, it's a crit. And it will make the IV stagger for only a second or two. It will give you enough time to run by if you're close enough, but if you do not hit the yellow bulbs, it is very dangerous to run by. Missed that. Here, you want to stare at the ceiling, just like earlier after the maiden medallion, to effectively deactivate that liquor, prevent you from getting licked. Mini stair skates as we head to grab the signal modulator, which will fill up our inventory. This little risky, cool movement you can do on those guys. Wouldn't advise doing that. Not recommended for beginners for sure. Alright, quick little aside here. Before we get into lab liquors, which is beyond RPD, the most toxic part of the run. You may have seen me equipping my flash and equipping my nade without going into the inventory. For those of you who don't know, you can hold the sub-weapon button. I believe it's left bumper or L1 for controller, and for PC it is space. If you hold those buttons, space, and then 1, 2, or 3, or I guess it would be D-pad for controller, you can select your sub-weapon without going into the inventory. So for knife, it's space and 2. For flash, it's space and 3. For nade, it's space and 1. Use that quite a lot throughout the run, and I think it's a thing that a lot of beginners don't notice. I'm really not going to do a dive into lab liquors here because that's what the timestamp is for. But yeah, we're going to do a shot manip, stare at the ceiling for a moment, and pray that the liquors go on the ceiling. It's not praying, but anyways, we're going to throw a flash once we know they're both on the ceiling. We're going to do this puzzle. We're gonna run back through, and that's where the real war is hoping and praying that you don't get hit there. Headed into the freezer to freeze the filled container. Alright, and we're going to throw out another flash here. You got to be careful. These zombies can be super close to you in the hallway. Sometimes they can be literally right at this corner. It's a bit more uncommon on Claire, but here we were fine. Quite a lot of distance between us and them right now. I use a visual cue on the floor here. This little blood spatter, maybe if the thing can go away. Okay. This little blood spatter, I just run a bit past it, and then I start prepping and throwing the flash. Also, another piece of tech here that will be explained further later. You can quick throw equipment like grenades and flashes, and you can also quick equip your knife by holding the sub-weapon button, the aim button, so left trigger or right mouse button for mouse, and then you can hold right trigger or mouse one as well to throw it as fast as possible. So again, that's sub-weapon button, space, plus right click or left trigger to pull out the grenade, flash, or knife faster. When you're throwing the flash here, as you reach this blitz better. Throwing the flash. I do a stutter step, very small stutter step. So long as you're aiming directly forward and not looking up, you will just need a small stutter step to avoid the flash going off in your face. And once again, like earlier, we're going to turn our camera backwards to look at the lickers so they don't turbo us. There's a nice little IV shot minute here, found by the lovely Catastrophic. Gotta shout that out every time because this minute has saved me quite a lot. Got a bit of an unfortunate case here, where this fella decided to turn their back to me. But one cool thing you can do if an IV has its back towards you is you can just knife it. We have plenty of knife durability to go around, and by knifing the IV, you're pretty much guaranteed to stagger it for quite a while. We're going to put the frozen filled liquid in the place where we got it from to begin with, and head back to grab the second to last wristband upgrade. Don't gotta worry about that IV there, just run by. There's a guy waiting for us here. He could be a bit of an issue, but as long as your movement's fine, it's fine. And then we have the true final problem IV there. This guy has a lot of cases. Here we got him walking towards us, so just shot the bulb and run by. Huge pain in the ass. Both of those guys are. And now we're headed to G2. G2. We are actually not headed to G2. This is G3. Running across the bridge. There is a grenade here on this guy's body, but we're going to pick that up later. Have the second signal modulator puzzle. This one is really quick and easy to solve, but I will go over the solutions at a later point. Okay, so I was watching the wrong labs, so actually, hold on. I need to go back and look at this Claire running in a straight line part of the run. Yeah, so I was watching the wrong example recording, and G3 was completely wrong. Quick little note here for those with not so good hardware, as I once was a person running this game not maintaining 120. You can turn your image quality to 50%, and it will greatly help maintaining performance on this game. It's especially important on G3, where your performance just gets tanked because the game is poorly optimized in this specific spot. So we're jumping into G3. Knife the knee eye, shoot the back eye, step over to the left there, wait for G3 to walk towards you and slam. Pop that shoulder eye, do a bunch of knife slashes on his back. We're going to rotate as he lifts his body there. Don't worry, we'll do a plenty deep dive explanation on the fight in time. But for now, just watch the very last thing. If you're doing the optimal inventory, you'll be left with You'll be left with bullets. A pack of bullets in the third slot there. You can see on the inventory SRT. This is very convenient. Pick up the grenade. Do not forget to pick up the grenade. You need this grenade for G4. Please do not forget the nade. Very easy to forget this grenade. Please pick it up. We're headed to pick up Sherry now, after we picked up the grenade and didn't forget it. Once we do the Sherry cutscene, we're going to get a prompt to combine the last wristband upgrade with our wristband. Bada bing, bada boom. Shift boost to the left. Run over to this console. There is a lot of running in straight lines in labs. Clearly this game is just a whole W simulator. Hold W and knife. Classic.
Claire? Yeah? Thank you for being so nice to me.
Sherry is really glad that she met you, and now we're gonna run. And another thing to not forget is this knife. We need this knife for G4, just like we need the nade for G4. And now that we picked up the grenade and the knife, we can reload that last bullet that we have. And that'll clear a nice spot in our inventory for the joint plug to go in just a little bit. Here you can see, you can actually hold the door open for Sherry. Wait till she gets to around this step here, this little third one, and then you can run away from the door. Holding this door open just prevents her from having to open it and slow down. And yeah, she'll just run through. Very harmless IVs, just run by. No risk of danger there. No risk or danger there. Come down the ladder. Gonna interact with this door. Cancel out of it. Alright. We have 2 IVs here. As you can see, there is a pack of bullets. If you're not confident with your knifing, you can grab these bullets to deal with IVs. But for general, like once you've progressed to a more confident level, you can just knife this first one if you have enough knife durability. You can do it in 1 slash, just like that. You can also just do it in multiple. It's no biggie. We're gonna break 2 knives on that fella, and then we're gonna let this IV grab us. Mash space bar, match it, and use our 3rd and final weak knife. That will give us all the time in the world for Sherry to open this door for us. You can do a little quick turn there to get by her. Saves a decent chunk of time. We have the last zombie of the run. This last zombie conveniently has 1 HP. So, well, actually, that's not true. This zombie has 50 HP, and he also has a phantom arm that if you shoot it, it doesn't kill him. So, please, just shoot center mass.
Sherry, you hanging in there?
Make sure that guy dies.
Atta girl. Think we're almost out of here.
And here we go. We are heading to G4. First, we gotta make a stop in the train car. Grab the joint plug. Pause for some reason. I don't know what I'm pausing for. Definitely botched that movement. All good. Put the joint plug in. It's in the D slot because of the previous inventory routing that we did. And we're grabbing the minigun, and we're ready for the G4 fight, which is probably, undoubtedly, the most complicated fight in the run. Quick little note here before we jump into the fight. If you go into your display settings, turn off camera wobble. I believe it's in display. No, somewhere else. Anyways, camera wobble off for this fight. Okay. Don't know why I was paused for so long. Anyways, we're doing G4 now. So, once you skip the cutscene, I just start shooting immediately. You have plenty of ammo, so it's fine. Positioning yourself in a specific spot so that G4 doesn't jump on top of you, and just trying to pop as many eyes as you can with the minigun. And do 1 slash once he's down on the ground, lifting himself up. Minigun a couple more eyes. Do 1 more knife slash just as he's about to fall. Throw our grenade at a specific point. A couple more knife slashes once his eyes have recovered. And really, it's just that easy, except that is genuinely the most challenging quick kill to get in the heat, and we're just going to conclude by minigunning until G4 is dead. Okay, so that concludes the I guess, the general summary of what the run looks like. Obviously, throughout this, you've seen the timestamps that have shown the much more detailed, deeper dives into what I consider to be the problem areas of the run. If I don't explain something that's causing you trouble, feel free to leave a comment. I'll probably answer you in like an hour, but as time goes on, it will be significantly longer before I answer you. But I'm always happy to answer people's questions with this game. Oh man, it's been a good few years. Anyways, thank you for watching this portion of the video. I hope you learned a lot. I mean, it's just a general summary of things going on, but yeah. Thank you for watching, and please stick around for the more complicated, fun stuff and how to really get good at speedrunning Resident Evil 2 Remake Clary Standard. Thanks, everyone. Gas Station effectively has two patterns for the normal speed strat. This first one here is the slow case, where the zombie blocks you after you shoot him. Here you can see in the video, Cat just simply aims to his right there and goes around him. There's a very small detail here that I want to bring up as well. This specific menu here for the key, it is 100% worth to use the mouse here to go over to the key. The reason for this is there's a small delay on this menu, one that doesn't exist for the other menus in the game. And yeah, so using mouse here is quite a bit faster. The second clip here shows the good pattern, where you're able to run to the left of the zombie with an aim tap after you shoot him. Okay, last clip for the normal strat here. This is a very unfortunate case where you get a crit on the zombie and he just falls on you. I wanted to mention this because it's really annoying, and yeah, not much else to say about this one, just annoying. So this is what I'm going to call the expert level gas station. This is a strat that I don't even do. It basically involves shooting this guy through the shelf and then doing a shot boost and then quick turning past him. The reason this strat is so annoying to do is because you have to react to what he does, where like if you get the stumble backwards here, you just quick turn and you go through and it's fine, it's great. But you know, half the time that doesn't happen. That's why the strat's annoying to do, but it is about 0.1 seconds worth of time save, so figured I'd mention it here. Here is the bad RNG case for the expert level gas station. And finally, for gas station, here is an example of why this strat is annoying to do. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick live demonstration of how exactly to take the caution bites here. It's quite a simple thing to do, but I see a lot of people mess it up, which honestly is understandable because it's a little finicky, but yeah. So there's two patterns for this zombie. There's a fast pattern and a slow pattern. The slow one loses about 0.5 seconds. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to quick turn at that car there, and then we're going to head just up against this car at this angle. Basically, we're running towards the spot that the zombie is headed towards as well. And we're going to run up to him until he starts lunging. And then we're going to hold aim and let go of our movement keys. And then we let him bite us one more time. You can waste ammo here, or you can do it later. And there we have it. I'm going to try and get the other RNG here. I'm honestly not sure which pattern I got there. But anyways, that was for sure the slow one. But the fast one is essentially the same thing, except you end up aim tapping sooner because he lunges sooner. Okay, and here's the psychotic way to try and get into caution. Would not advise this one. Basically, it involves shooting this lady's arms at the beginning of the street segment. Her arms break in a random number of shots. I think it's between 1 and 3 on standard. And yeah, if you get unlucky, you can just run out of ammo. Best case scenario, this saves, I think, 0.7 over fast bite if you do the other strat. But yeah, this is very, very psycho strat to do. Here we have a pretty annoying set of zombies. We have this big guy first, and then we have another guy kind of blocking our path who really isn't much of a problem. So here on this first clip is the safe strat. You can see Cat running a pretty wide line, just avoiding this guy. That guy is quite scary, and as a beginner I'd recommend just avoiding him at all costs. Don't mess around with him. And then for the second guy there, you can see Cat just takes a wide line. Honestly, the second guy is really free, like you hardly even need to take that wide line, but for the first guy, just stray away. This is a clip of the more advanced way of handling these last two guys in streets. This is the bad RNG first. Here you can see the big guy sort of aggro's onto you. He like turns his head slowly, and then you can just do a little camera turn plus holding D. You can see down on the keyboard overlay. Dodge by him. He does have an impossible pattern as well that I didn't get footage of, where he just turns to you instantly and you get grabbed. There's really nothing you can do about that. That's why it would just be more advised to do it the safe way. And also, you, like I said before, you can kind of just run at this guy and it's fine. And finally here for streets, this is the good case with the big guy. You can see he doesn't turn his head, he just walks forward. You can run by, no movement or dodge required. And yeah, there's the tight line. Next up we have a little piece of time save for this door guy by utilizing a pause buffer strat that was found by Waifu. So here we interact with the shutter, skip the cutscene. We have this notebook here. Once we close out of this, we're going to be heading to the right, so be holding D and then shift boost as the book goes down. Once you get to this like part of the room, once you hear the bang on the door, you can pause the game. If you sit in this pause menu for a few seconds, you will essentially progress this guy's timer behind the door. So for some reason, enemies that are banging on doors in certain contexts, you can actually progress the time it takes for them to bang on the door in the pause menu. And since we don't lose time in the pause menu, it obviously saves time. Yeah, so after we unpause here, we're going to run up to this big cart toolbox thing and just stand up against it. One movement technique you'll be seeing me use a lot of, and this is a hard thing to notice, but if you just tap aim and let go of all movement keys, your character will come to a complete full stop. This is incredibly useful in so many places, just like for the caution bites, and it's very useful here as well. So we're just going to bring Claire to a full stop right at this toolbox, wait for the door, and then go. Another important thing to note about this guy here is the faster you get out of the room, the less likely he is to be here later. So this zombie can be on the other side of this. Can't get a good pause on it. When you come back through here after you grab the bolt cutters, this guy can be in your way here. And it only happens if you're too slow exiting this room here. So you want to try and make sure your movement is on point here. You can see I shift boost out of the room, do a quick turn, head this way. Here's another example of me doing it in regular speed. Shift boost, pause, scroll the menu a few times to time it out, aim, run by. And then I do also want to just show off running by these two zombies here. Don't get too close to that lady, wait for her to lunge, head left, and you're good to go. I wanted to show an important note here for the spade key stairs. So the movement here is already tricky, and throwing a zombie into the mix makes this like extra challenging. But there is some things to know here that are very useful and can make this a lot easier. So first thing I want to point out is here, if you notice, sometimes when you quick turn here, the zombie will start growling or, yelling. This just means that he's aggroed onto you, and this happens probably 50% of the time, something like that. What I like to do when I hear this is to pre-turn my camera this way. So doing a quick turn like that is slightly slower, maybe 0.1 slower. So generally we try to avoid it, but in a case like this, it's really hard when the zombie is aggroed onto you to know what he's going to do. He moves very erratically. Here in this case, you can see I got kind of like the worst case scenario, really, where not only is he aggroed onto you, he actually makes his way past this post here, and he just totally gets in your way. So you have to go all the way around him. This is obviously very marginally slower if you handle it well, but it is quite annoying. So yeah, this is just as a general rule of thumb, if you hear him growling here, it's best to pre-turn your camera. Here's what I would typically do with good RNG, where the zombie doesn't growl or aggro onto you. A little quick turn here instead of a camera pre-turn, and everything proceeds the same. And here's one more case for this guy. It's an early aggro. Pre-turn. He gets stuck at the post, missed the first shot, but hit the second one. Just one thing to note here, if you end up in this situation where you only have 5 bullets, 3 plus 2, don't reload yet. You want to wait to reload your pistol until you have picked up the bolt cutters. Last thing I want to show at the stairs here is a quirk with Claire's stair skating. This is hugely important movement tech for Claire that it's just not present on Leon, or if it is, we just haven't realized. So Claire's quirk with stair skating is that she has 2 different animations for when she taps aim. And the way you get the distinct animations is dependent on the last direction you were looking before you tapped aim. So if you move your camera right before clicking, you get the good animation. And if you move your camera left before clicking, you get the bad animation. So the first time I go down and up these stairs here is going to be me trying to force the bad animation. And you should be able to distinguish between the good animation and bad animation. So those were bad. The first one there was good, and then it was bad. Bad, bad. All bad down there. And it's actually quite hard for me to force it to happen when turning right. You can see I have to aggressively turn my camera to the left to get the bad animation. And the same thing should happen in most people's case. But here's me getting the good animation down the stairs. You can see my camera is pointed right just before I click. And I get the good animation, except for that one there. And it's very easy for me to show it off here. You can see it's just good animation, good animation, good animation. Yeah. I'm really not sure what the time difference between a good and bad stair skate animation is. I'm not sure anybody could really tell you that information. I just know that it is much faster to get this animation overall throughout the run. Quick little tip here for library. You can do a W tap just before you get this radio call. Helps you get to the fall through a bit quicker. But right here, so we're going to step to the left and turn backwards. The reason I wait to turn backwards there is because walking to the left is faster than walking backwards when you're on the radio. There's, as you can see, well, I mean, if this fucking thing would move, you can see down in the library there's the lady zombie. She is extremely annoying, extremely problematic. She can be in your face. She can grab you instantly all the time. It's happened to everybody. There's 2 manipulations for her. Well, it's the same manipulation in 2 different ways. So long as you're pointed in this direction that my Claire is here, when you fall through, you either leave your mouse completely still, I mean 0 motion, take your hand off the mouse, or you flick it super violently, like fucking swinging it all around your mouse pad while you fall through. Both will lead her to just do stuff like this, where you can just kind of walk up to her and chill. And here is the other example. It's the wrong one. Debbie tap here. Looks like it's the end. Hold left for as long as I can. And turn. And yep, she's chilling. After just leaving library, we are headed to the lion medallion here. Just a quick little side note. You can barely, depending on your graphic settings, make out the symbols before entering the puzzle. I tend to see pretty much just the first one, and it sort of helps to get the puzzle kind of insta, but it's pretty hard to see. Some symbols I just physically can't make out sometimes. I mean, you can see in the video, it's not great. Just to explain the medallions a little bit, the solutions, the symbols you need to get to are always the same, but the number of changes you have to do per dial is completely random. So worst case scenario, you have to do 3 changes for each dial, so a 9 change. And best case scenario is you have to do a 1 change for each dial, or a 3 change. The difference between the worst and best there is about 1.2 seconds. So each extra change you have to do is optimally about 0.2 seconds. I'm going to use this opportunity to shout out Joydern and his very, very useful medallion trainer. This will be linked in the description. You can just go here and have a semi-accurate medallion trainer. If you press too fast, it'll error out, and that's to help try and mimic the delay in-game for changing each style. But this is just a very useful way of figuring out how many changes each symbol is. And yeah, you can learn both the A scenario and B scenario medallions here. It's just super helpful, and it's very nice to have something out of game to practice with. There's another small little trick to save a little bit of time here by turning Claire towards this wall just before the helicopter crashes, and you can see she kind of stumbles forward here. The trick is, well, the lineup I use is once you reach where the light is coming through here is when I start turning Claire towards the wall. And yeah. Quickly here, I want to go over the 2 big zombies that are a bit of a problem on this later half of RPD1. So for this first guy in the hallway, you know, sometimes you just get him in the hallway here. It's very simple, just shoot him in the head, run by. But sometimes he's just right there, right at that corner, camping, and the moment you turn, you get instantly grabbed. It's really annoying to have to deal with this. I mean, you get through 5 minutes of the game just to have it get grabbed here. It's super annoying. So what I like to do is I like to pre-turn my camera if I don't see this guy in the hallway immediately. Turn the corner. I like to do a little pause buffer to check, because it's quite literally impossible to react to if the guy's just camping in the corner. And then yeah, just give him a little shot if he's in the way. Sometimes he has his back turned and he's just not a problem at all, but yeah. Moving on from that previous zombie, there's another guy who is, this is a pretty rare occurrence, but this guy outside of this door can be very annoying. So you can see here, he's just back turned, chilling, looking at the corner. But oftentimes he's just pointed in the complete opposite direction, and he can aggro onto you, walk towards you, and you can't avoid it. You can't avoid him grabbing you. So if that happens, just one shot to the head. It's just as a general rule of thumb, on standard, it's very simple to just shoot a zombie in the head and then run by them. You actually have quite a lot of you have quite a lot of control over whether a zombie grabs you or not, and you shouldn't be afraid of using shots when you have to. Just pop them once and you're good to run by. Here we have one of the most difficult parts of RPD1. It is both difficult and extremely random. So we have the Stars Liquor here. I don't have any difficulty indicator on the screen here because there really isn't any variation to the strat. You're kind of just running away and trying to get by. There's a few things you can do to help raise your odds of getting through this. So obviously, first things first here, we're quick turning into this door here, grabbing the battery, putting it into the detonator, and then exiting the room. Here, you can do a WD quick turn into this door. And what that entails is basically getting super close to the door. This is mostly about position and camera angle, while holding W and shift here, of course. And then once you're in the sweet spot, you start holding D or to the right, and that will make Claire do this unique door opening animation. And this is the fastest way to get out of the room, but it also helps a lot with consistency. I do believe the slower you are in this room, the more likely you are to get through this area without getting damaged. But this area is just really bad. So here you can see in the clip, Cat is just running away, camera back to the liquor, and it's just passive and fine. You can hear it does a little attack there as she's turning to unlock the door. What happens a good number of times is right here, this is an easy moment for the liquor to just lick you. But if the liquor does lick, it's fine. It just does a couple hundred damage and you move on with your life, and it's fine. And sometimes when we do this room, it's just totally free out of the gate. Here you can see Cat exits the room. You hear this big roar from the liquor, and it jumps past you and does its slash there. If it misses, I mean, you got all the time in the world to just get out of there. This third example is something that happens very often, which is, of course, the liquor lick. As I mentioned before, it just does a couple hundred damage, and if you get licked, you're pretty much always guaranteed to just run to the door and be good to go. This does have a small benefit as well. By lowering your HP here, your DA will go down, or your difficulty adjustment. For those who don't know, this game has a dynamic difficulty system where basically the worse you do, the easier the game gets. So in this case, by taking this lick here, you will have an easier time fighting G1. Finally, for the Stars Liquor, we have the most important clip I want to show off, which is what happens when the liquor jumps in front of you after it's been on the ceiling. See, it just sort of whips in front of you. What you have to do when it does this is you have to shoot the liquor. And you have to do this very quickly, because if you don't, the liquor is going to jump on you, and you're going to have to use a defensive item, and it loses the run, basically, because you need that knife. It loses quite a lot of time, or you take the damage, and I'm pretty sure this hit puts you in danger. So yeah, if you see the liquor jump in front of you like this, you have to be very reactive, turn around, and shoot it. Here's a quick thing I wanted to note as well. I didn't have a clip of this, but I just wanted to point it out because it is pretty important, especially for beginners. When you enter library after picking up the unicorn medallion, there's 4 scenarios you can run into here. There's 3 zombies in total in library, and each of the 3 can be in this position. This guy and the lady are basically harmless. They always do this thing where they go over to the right and they're just very relaxed. There's also a case where there could be no zombie at all, which obviously is free. But if the big guy is here, there's a chance. Well, first of all, he's really slow. So you often have to take a wider, very exaggerated line for him, or he can just turn towards you and you're forced to do a really, really strange dodge or just shoot him in the head, which is what I'm advising you to do right now. It's just, if you see him turn towards you, you should just shoot him. For this spot here, I'm going to show off two clips, a safe way and an optimal way of dodging this explosion. I also think it's very important to mention here, again, you want to exit this room and then come back in, and that prevents this shelf from falling over on the door and, you know, losing a million years and having you potentially lose your run there. So yeah, just exit the room, come back in, and you can avoid the explosion here by just standing behind this table, waiting and going. There is a more optimal way of doing it, which I'll show now. For the optimal version of the skip here, we're going to start the same way. Grab the hip pouch, exit the room, come back in, and then as we approach the wall here, we're going to use that same tech from earlier where we bring Claire to a full stop by holding aim and letting go of our movement keys, plus shift. And then what I do and what Kat's doing here in the clip is you want to hold W and A into the wall until you get stuck. Make sure you're holding W and A, otherwise Claire will kind of get stuck and like not get into the wall properly. And you just want to get up against the wall as much as possible, and you want to be behind this pillar here. And then when the explosion goes off, just shift boost, run forward. So I just want to take a quick second to talk about this ladder here after you've gotten all 3 medallions and you're headed back down. I'm choosing this clip because it really shows how stupid this ladder is. These zombies just decided to not aggro whatsoever and wait until I was just at the very bottom of the ladder, and I want to stress how rare this specific case is. And they double grabbed me in this clip here, which lost about 10 seconds. Luckily, I had an herb on this occasion, which I'd advise early on. You can hold an herb in RPD1, and you'll just have to discard it. But yeah, this ladder is really bad. Here in this case, I didn't exactly do anything wrong because you can't react on the ladder properly. The way it works is if you want to go back up the ladder, you have to be holding W for a pretty long period of time. So by the time I noticed they weren't aggroed, it was just too late for me to react. There is, however, a way. There is occasionally a way where you can prevent dying here, and that's by going up the ladder again and then back down. And I will show that now. Here I'm showing a clip from my hardcore run. This is just a much easier way of showing it off because you have to do it here. So if you see a zombie, if you see a zombie out of place, or if you have 3 zombies here, you just kind of wait for them to lunge and then hold W. You have to hold because the ladder movement in this game is super weird. So just hold it and then go back down. And then you're good. Since I gave an explanation of G1 a bit earlier, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I did want to show what a perfect fight looks like. So the lowest number of slashes you can kill G1 in is 13 on Claire Standard. I myself hardly ever get this. This is once again a clip from Kat. Where she got a 13 slash without taking any damage in RPD1. Not sure how she did it because I can't replicate it, but yeah, here's what here's what a perfect G1 looks like. So here after G1 is the first of a few different safety route changes you can do to make the game just a bit easier for yourself. There in this locker here is a hip pouch to expand your inventory to 8 slots. This is hugely important for a couple reasons. One, it allows you to hold an herb throughout RPD and labs. And 2, it also lets you hold an extra knife in labs, which is huge for getting grabbed by an Ivy. If you have that extra knife, then you have a great defensive item for that case. It also is important for the spark shot route, which I will talk about later as well. Next up is a very tricky room for beginners on this game in RPD2. It's the kennel lickers. So for this first, just entering the room here is important. You don't want to keep your camera too high or too low when entering the room. You want it to be centered so you're able to look at this liquor. You can see I keep my camera high here, but it's because I'm trying to get a good line through the door. You want to prioritize just keeping your camera centered here, though, and just do a slow, smooth turn into the door. Make sure you look at the liquor. If you get past smoothly and quickly, you're able to look down here and just take the corner very tightly to avoid the liquor hit there. Now the beginner strat for the way out, the pass back through kind of liquors. You can run through this door here, do a shot, which will trigger this second liquor to come flying around the corner. Hopefully your movement is a bit better than mine there. I'm not used to doing this bullet strat here. And yeah, just make sure you fire the shot once you've entered the room a little bit, and just run by these fellers and head to the door. And then for exiting, there is a liquor on the ceiling here where if you run into him, he will grab you 100% of the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to come around the corner, start walking, and then turn our back to the liquor. This will make him jump in front of you there, and then you can run away. So just wait for him to jump in front of you on the previous one and run backwards. And here is a showcase for the more advanced exit. This is without using a bullet. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to quick turn into the door with just D, and we're going to do it right around when you get to the doorknob at this door. You don't want to quick turn into the door as soon as possible. You want to wait a little bit until you get to around the knob. And then once you quick turn into the door, just take a straight line in the middle of the room and let this liquor here bump into you. This is going to slow you down slightly and will give you enough time to pass by the second liquor for free. And then here is the advanced final guy. Just quick turn at the corner, turn your back immediately, and run. Next up, I got two strats for the large gear room. This is the normal one that you would do. Basically what you want to do is run in here, quick turn, and then shoot this guy in the head. Now, this shot is actually quite specific, more than you would think. You want to wait until you get past these flame rounds before you start aiming. See, she gets like to around the end of the shelf and then starts aiming. Shoot this guy, use the heart key. You have to get in and out of this room super quickly, otherwise the guy bangs on the door. And he also, if you're too slow, has a chance of just grabbing you. But assuming your movement is okay, you just get out and go. If you're worried about your movement not working out and this guy potentially grabbing you here, you can quick turn to the right here, head this way, and then head out the door. It is a second or so slower to do that, but it is an option. And you can just head back through. Make sure you open that locker. We need those bullets later. And here's a clip of the second strat. This one is very, very hard to do consistently, and it's also hardly any time save whatsoever. If it doesn't go absolutely perfectly, it doesn't save time. Here's how it works. So once we quick turn at these stairs, you're going to shoot this door. You want to make use of the quick draw here to get the shot off faster. Quick draw plus shot boost. Quick turn in the room, run towards the door. Don't go too far to the right. You have to aggro this zombie onto you pretty late. As you can see, he needs to lunge into the door, and then you exit the room while he's still recovering from the fact that he tried to grab you. Here we have a couple of different ways to dodge Mr. X at the first encounter here. This is the safe one, the beginner strat, which is just line up with the wall there, the crack in the wall, and aim at X. Yeah, just line up here, aim at him. And you want to make sure you're not moving at all when you do this. And then obviously once he starts punching, you can go ahead and run forward. You can do this to X throughout the game. It doesn't really have a lot of use in Claire's scenario, but it is a way of manipulating him into doing an attack that you can just run by. It requires a certain amount of distance between you and him, and it requires you to not be moving to get that animation. This is the more advanced X dodge. You want to sort of get in his face here, slightly to the right, and then run through once he starts his punch. You can't go too soon, otherwise he'll toss you backwards. What I do for this is I line up. You want to get to the helicopter there and then inch forward just a bit. And then it's just all about understanding when you can run forward here on the punch. You can see Cat in the clip waits a little bit. You have to wait for him to cock his arm back and then go. After we dodged Mr. X, this next upcoming section where you head to grab the library track through the main hall is probably one of the most challenging points in RPD, both for beginners and for more advanced runners. There's just a lot that can go wrong here. Firstly, I want to show a manip for beginners. If you shoot around this area here, like right around that couch, it will manipulate Mr. X into being much better. He just kind of is more chill, he's slower, and you have less of a chance of encountering him later on. Heading through main hall, through the west office. This is also a beginner strat where if you run through that door and look back at the liquor, you can generally avoid all problems with him. After we use the heart key there, discard the spade key and move the large gear up to where the keys were. You can see on the display here, it just gives a much better inventory for later on. Grab the library jack, try and make it through that door without it closing. Back into the west office, there is a probably 30-40% chance that a zombie is standing right here. You have to be very cautious of this. If you can shoot him. If not, you can just run on the other side of the table, lose a few seconds. Heading back out into main hall, you can see Mr. X is chilling over here. He's slow as hell. Now we're heading to library, and I want to point out the shot manip at library again. So just as you're approaching this couch here, once you reach the couch, just shoot in this general area. You can see I kind of demonstrate it. Don't wait like I did there. Just shoot while you're running past it. You can see it will completely manipulate this zombie, if there is a zombie in this area, to just ignore you completely. This is a more advanced version of doing this area. So up till this point, it's the same, except we're not doing the shot manip. The first one, head into the west office here, and we're going to do a WD door before the liquor. So just get real close to it, then start holding D. And you want to look towards this trash can or towards the vending machine, and just run in a sort of straight line towards them, and then hold D as you see the liquor, or just before you see the liquor, and you'll dodge out of the way of its attack. Same as before, use the heart key, discard the spade key, move the gear up. Heading back through the office, just be aware this guy can be here. Do a little pause to check if you need to. And if you're fast enough, Mr. X cannot punch you. But you have to be very, very quick through that area in order to beat him there. Heading towards Clock Tower after the library here, there is a interesting quirk with this first zombie here. If you manage to bait him to grab you, you can hear him lunging there as I enter the room. He won't be in the way when you come back out. If you don't get him to lunge there, he can be a bit of a problem. He has a lot of different variations he can do. You may have to shoot him. Most of the time you can just run by though. And this second guy outside of Clock Tower as well, like I said, as you can see, when you come out of Clock Tower, if the guy is lunged, he just won't be there. This guy, this is a super problematic case for this guy. This is the one where you're really scared of him grabbing you here. You can see in my PB, I almost got grabbed by him. If you see him turning towards the right, it's really not a good sign. You can see me trying to do my placebo strats to make him not do things, and then I very nearly got grabbed, but I got pretty lucky. I'm going to show a couple more patterns for this guy, like things to look out for. The other, basically any case aside from this one, you're pretty safe. Here's another case for exiting Clock Tower. This is a really good one. You can see he just kind of walks forward into the wall. This one gives you a lot of room to get by without him even coming close to grabbing you. You can quick turn at this corner, or you can do a normal turn. Generally I prefer to do quick turns. I don't know why for the clip I just did a normal turn, but I guess it was more to just show how safe and free this one is. And for the last one here, I'm showing the one from the run earlier. Here's also a case where I was able to just get by this the first guy outside Clock Tower. I wasn't able to bait his grab in the earlier clip, and so he was here, but I did a pause to check and was able to get by. Here, this cop zombie just goes off into the onto the left side, and you're unable to see him completely. What I do here is not what I would advise you to do. What I did here was very dangerous, but I did it for fun. If you see this, you want to take a wide turn around the corner and try and bait the guy's grab to the left. That way you can go around his right. But you can also do what I do here and risk losing, or risk getting grabbed there. Ideally, you would just take a wide line around him. Maybe a little bit wider than that, though. I went over it a bit earlier, but here's just a more streamlined version of how to solve this puzzle optimally. So once you enter, you're going to be in the top left. Go down, hit it once. Down left, hit it once. Left, hit it 3 times. Down left, hit it once. Right, down, or down right, hit it once. Alright, and now for the big puzzle in Claire's scenario, one that causes a lot of trouble.
In the neighborhood.
It's a little bit complicated, but I think once you get a fair understanding of it, it's actually quite nice. There is, like I mentioned before, a cheeky little trick here, where if you watch this cutscene for a bit until it transitions over to Sherry.
If you just hadn't dropped that fucking thing, I could let you go.
Hurry up, man. Okay, so you can actually see the puzzle solution in this cutscene here. So by looking at this, I know this needs to be changed once, this needs to be changed once as well, and this needs to be changed twice. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that means later. So once you come over to the puzzle, you're going to examine the doll, spin it around, put the block in, and what's going to happen is this block here that we're going to put in always goes in the 4th slot. So here it goes. And this is completely random what orientation this is in. So the first 3 blocks I could see earlier, and like I said, this one needs to be changed once, right? So the correct orientation of this block is like this. It's star and then square. Now, an important note about this block, and an important note about just the puzzle in general, this is the only block that needs to be moved horizontally. You just move this block over to the 3rd slot every single time you go into the Sherry puzzle. And the other 2 here that I mentioned earlier, this is a 2 change, and this needs to be changed 1 down. And we got unlucky here, so this one needs to be changed twice vertically. So I'm going to do that again and try and... You can't load from the autosave, by the way. It maintains the first 3 blocks are the same if you load the autosave there. So we'll just see what we can get this time. And I'll give a better idea of how I figure out how many changes this puzzle requires. So I look at 3 things. I look at this. Let's see if we can get a decent pause. Okay. I look on the first block there, I look at the right symbol. On this block, I look at the right symbol. And on this block, I look at the left symbol. So this fucking big ass prompt could get out of the way. So just through memory, I know that we want to have a square here on these 2 blocks. Can't show you my mouse, but we basically want it to look like this. If you see this before you move anything, you already know that these 2 are perfectly solved. Because we want to build a square here, and we want to have a star on the right of the 3rd block. And as I said, I look at the right symbol on the first block. If I see a triangle, I know it's a 2 change. Move it over. And we got lucky on the 4th symbol, so that was the only one that I had to move. And I'm going to do that one more time and hopefully give a fairly decent explanation of what I see. There's an incredible practice tool made by Palm. Just like the medallion trainer, there's one for this puzzle as well. That'll be linked in the description. Okay, so I turn around, grab this. I see already the first block is already solved. I didn't get a good look at the other 2 symbols, but I know that I'm just going to move it over. And now I see this needs to be changed once, this also needs to be changed once, and this also needs to be changed once. It's nice when you get a symbol that has the correct symbol above it. So in this case, it would be if you see a square here, you know it just needs to be brought down. If I see a circle here, I know it's a 2 change. Also, another useful trick is for the, let me just show it one more time. Oh, I actually, hold on, I'll just load the autosave, it'll be quicker. If you see a triangle on the right side of this first block here, like I mentioned before, that's a 2 change. It also applies to this block, the 3rd block there. If you see a triangle here, it's also a 2 change. And for this one, if you see a circle on the right, it's a 2 change. Okay, this one might seem really stupid, but I promise you it's important. Here's how you climb up this shelf without Cherry taking 5 years. You want to pull the shelf out, just holding to the right, and you want to point your camera all the way down and to the right. You can literally just pull your mouse down and to the right all the way, and yeah, just pull it out with D. And when you go up the shelf, don't hold shift, don't interact, just hold A and don't move your camera, and Cherry will do the perfect climb up every time. Another time save that I mentioned earlier in the video is this shift boost at Cherry section. So when you're waiting for Irons to come over to the door, you can do a little shift boost as he passes you there, and you'll get a crazy boost forward. This is not like a normal shift boost that just saves like 0.15. This is getting forward here saves about half a second and will bring you so much closer to the door. You can see after the cutscene is skipped, I'm like right next to the door, even though I only took one quick little step forward. Also, an important thing to note here, this is a bug that pretty much everybody encounters if they run this category, or if they run Claire in general, is you can actually pick up 2 keys here. If you mash interact really quickly, you will get the first key and there will be another prompt to pick up another key. The way you can avoid this is to just interact one time. So as you run towards the door, or you can see in the clip here, as I run towards the door, I only click my mouse one time, and then I do the rest of the confirm action keys. And that will make sure that you never get the double key meme. Okay, 2 quick mentions here. This is a very nice safety strat for this next section coming up, and also a DA minute that I just didn't get to show off earlier. So as you can see right here, there is an herb in this corner, assuming you haven't picked it up from getting hit earlier in kennels. Having this herb is just a really, it lends a lot of safety if you have the, well, you should have the inventory space if you feel the need for it in this next section. And then the other thing I want to mention is if you have the health, assuming you haven't taken any other damage in the run aside from the 2 caution hits at the beginning, you can just let X punch you here. It does about 300 damage, and it is the only DA minute really you would need in the run. Next up here we have the very infamous bus dog section of the run, the famous bus dog. This first clip is going to show a new manip that was found very recently. I would consider this to be the beginner strat now that this actually exists. So a huge thank you to both Captain Boom and Palm for helping work this out. So I'm going to explain this first dog here. This first dog has technically 3 patterns, but 2 common ones and 1 uncommon one. You can see in the clip here, cat just runs through the door and the dog is chilling. This is the good pattern where you just do nothing and it's fine. And here as well is the shot manip. You want to shoot the side of the bus here and run up here. We're going to pick up this grenade, put it in this slot, headshot this guy, run out of the bus. And that shot manip helps to prevent the dog from biting you there. And here as well is an example clip of the older, more advanced bus dog strats, and also this first guy. This is the second common pattern that you'll see, where once you pass this this curb here, the dog will start running at you. And all you have to do is just hold D or move to the right there, and you're fine. And here is what the other bus dog strat looks like. It's effectively the same thing, except it's a gamble if you can get out or not. It's many runs have been lost to this fella here, so would definitely recommend the shot manip strat for people who are new to the run. It's probably only not viable for like someone like me who doesn't really have much time saved left. And also I want to mention the third pattern for this first dog, the very uncommon one. So you can see here, it's going to look like this, where you're going to run by and the dog is just going to be chilling, except he's going to turn towards you here. Like as you pass by, he's going to basically home in on you. And if you can recognize it in time, when you get to this car, if you do a quick turn to the right on that car, you will dodge out of the way of the dog hit. But it's pretty hard to react to, and it's also an uncommon RNG, so it's not something you're going to be thinking about. But just keep it in the back of your mind if you see that. Moving into the sewers now, here is the first, like, trouble point of sewers. It's just this monitor room here. This is a very safe way of getting through monitor room, is just take a moment, aim at this guy's head. You really have quite a lot of time here. The trouble usually arises when people rush this stuff. So just take your time shooting this guy, and also don't run too far to the left here. This guy in the back can grab you if you're not careful. And let's show the bit more advanced here. This is just doing monitor room, but doing it as fast as possible. So here you can see Kat is going to quick draw her pistol, and Hargrove will shoot that guy in the head and just run. Quick drawing is definitely it is a very, very high level tech to be using. It saves such a small amount of time, and it makes a lot of things like this just much more difficult. So I'd recommend doing it sparingly as a beginner. But yeah, if you're a more advanced runner, I mean, it really is just as simple as head into the room, quick draw, shoot the guy in the head. Next up in sewers here, we have this very difficult encounter on the stairs. We have 2 zombies at the bottom of this staircase, and we just have to headshot one and run by. This is labeled as the advanced strat because, and I unfortunately don't have a clip of this, but I believe the beginner strat here would be to stair skate down these stairs, shoot this guy, and then turn and shoot this guy on the left, and then you can run by and continue. So yeah, the reason this is advanced, even though it literally just looks like going down some stairs and shooting this guy in the head, you have to have very good movement to get through this consistently. You need to be very, very good with your stair skates down here, not doing too many and not clicking for too long, and then you have to obviously hit your shot here, and then continue your stair skating just after hitting the shot to avoid this guy on the left from grabbing you. And you can see a person like Kat here with some of the best movement in these games. She's obviously having no problem with it, but for a newer player, it's going to be a lot more challenging than this. And we do also have this very psychotic strat where you don't shoot this guy in the back, which I'll show now. And here we have the deranged strat here. This was found by Mondo Mantra quite a long time ago at this point, but he found this, couldn't quite find a way to make it consistent, and then Kat came along and was like, that looks fun, I'm gonna try and make that consistent. And then she did, to an extent. I don't think this strat will ever be 100% consistent because this zombie in the back just doesn't do the same thing every time. Sometimes he walks forward very aggressively, sometimes he's a bit slower. We need him to walk forward pretty fast. This strat works a bit like YOLO Prison does on Leon, where we have the zombie on the left here. You'll see. The zombie on the left starts aggroing and starts lunging towards us here, and because only one zombie can be aggroed onto you at once in certain contexts, we're able to get by this guy in the back without any issue. So essentially it just looks like stair skating down here and then correcting your line a little bit and then doing the third one. That is basically how you execute the strat. Is you do the first 4 stair skates totally normally like this. You turn a little bit, do a couple, and then for the third one you correct your angle to be very much diagonal. This is what triggers the guy on the left to grab you, or to grab for you, and that allows you to get by that guy. There is one success. Here is another one. Creepypasta Stairs. That is accurate title. And there you go. And this last clip here for the spot will be just a showing of what looks like when you get unlucky here. As you can see, Kat's going down the stairs. This guy aggro's super fast. He's like super duper fast, and he is able to lunge before the guy on the left is. So what you have to do when you see this is kind of just have to react to it. You can use a little pause buffer here, shoot the guy. There is another case here that is very unlucky, which is when he just sits there for hours. Like, this guy does the opposite of this. He'll just stand back and wait, or he'll like slowly shamble towards you. And in this case and in the case I'm describing, by the time the guy on the left's lunge ends, this guy can grab you. So those are the 2 ways the strat can go wrong. So after we've picked up the rook, we have this very, very random enemy encounter here, with coming back through after the stairs. The 2 zombies are going to be in the water or around this platform. This first clip I'm going to show, I'm just going to try and show a few clips here to give you an idea of how you should handle certain scenarios. So for this first one, I just have the big guy in the water. He's staring to the right. I do this placebo camera shake thing that I think sometimes makes enemies move forward when you want them to. Don't ask me how it works or if it even works. I don't fucking know. But anyways, as you can see there, I'm kind of just trying to force the guy to walk to the right so I have space to get up the ledge. And you see the other guy is chilling on the stairs. This guy is pretty much fine. The only time he can really be a problem is, well, obviously when you're going down the stairs he can be a problem, but in this situation here, the only place he can be a problem is in the water here. Otherwise, when you come back through after grabbing the king and queen plug, he's not really going to be an issue. This big guy, on the other hand, is quite often a problem when you come back from the king and queen. If he is on the platform here, around the time you're in this area, there's a very high likelihood that he'll just walk over to the stairs here, and he'll just sit here where this guy is right now. And he can camp here, and he can ruin your run easily, no problem. So you want the big guy pretty much in the water. Also, another thing I should probably mention here, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it because of the quality of... Let's just show it in a different one. Here's another case here from another run of mine. Big guy just totally blocking the path I want to go. This was a very risky line here. You can see he lunged towards me just at the very end here. In Standard, you can kind of get away with a lot more. Like, if this was hardcore, he would lunge for me right here. He would lunge directly towards me, and it'd be doomed. But here on Standard, he wakes up a little late, and I'm able to just run along. There's an herb right here. There's an herb right here if you take a bite coming down the stairs, or if you take a bite here. Do not forget about this. This is very important. And one more case. This is from my current PB. I'll show you what I did and what I think you should have done, or what I think I should have done. So as you can see, I take a very wide line around this guy. I'm very scared of him. This was a little slower than what I should have done, which was right here. Once I pass the big guy, I have a lot of space there. I could just shoot this guy. I have an extra bullet. For the optimal route, you would need at least 5 here, but I have 6, so I do have enough. I do have an extra bullet to shoot him here, and I should have just done that and went up there, and it would have been fine. Jumping into the first encounter with the G-adults, here is the safe beginner strat. Just wait to shoot this fella, run to the left, and maintain this line. If you're scared of the G-adult, you can always run to the right here as you're taking this line to avoid the grabs, but I'm pretty sure I actually have not learned this strat. I don't know if this is 100% consistent to do it this way, but this is just the way I see beginners doing it, and it seems to work fairly consistently, at least. And then let's show the advanced strat here, the right side pass. For this one, you're going to run up to this wall, pretty close to it, and then we're going to shoot this guy. We're going to wait a second before we start running. So after we shoot, just wait a little bit, walk towards him, then start running. That way you can avoid the stagger. And then we time a shot on this guy in the back, depending on his animation here. Wait a little bit. Basically shoot when he starts this second walk here. Doesn't matter where you shoot him, just need to shoot him somewhere around that time during his animations. And let me show this in full speed one more time. Run up to the wall. Walk. Here in the King and Queen room, we have the only major beginner route change. Assuming you picked up the hip pouch earlier, the picking up the hip pouch earlier after G1 is a prerequisite to doing this strat here. We're gonna grab the spark shot here, and we got a lucky case, so this zombie is just chilling on the floor and we can run by, but most of the times you'll probably have to shoot that guy after you pick up the spark shot. The rest of the room proceeds as usual, but the rooms coming after with G-adults and pretty much the rest of the run are quite a lot different. Speaking of rooms being different, here's one where the spark shot is just an absolute blessing to have. So typically G-adults are extremely annoying to get around. You have to bait their swing and get around them, and it's really annoying. But with the spark shot, like you just saw there, you really can just shoot them and run by. It is a huge blessing for the spark shot route. Here's a really cool tip and exploit for the G-adult when you're coming down the ledge here. As you're going down the ledge, you want to turn your camera in this direction towards where the G-adults would be, and hold right click. If you aim and flick your camera around, for some reason it manipulates the G-adult here into spitting babies most of the time. So you can see here, it just worked absolutely perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better example to show. I just look over, aimed on sight, instantly the G-adult is spitting babies. Very, very helpful, very useful. It unfortunately really only works when the G-adults are in this general area, and if they're too close here, right up against the ledge, it tends to not work. This little trick here was also found by Mondo Mantra. I mean, he's a legendary OG player of the game, and some of the stuff he's found and came up with is just extremely useful. And this one, I always want to shout him out for, because this tip is just so helpful. Okay, so switching over to the wrong character, because I couldn't find a clip of Claire dodging Geodults. I wanted to just show off how you would typically deal with a Geodult here. You run up to them just close enough to bait out their grab, and then quick turn backwards. You can see I do a little pause buffer to check, and I run back super optimally. But one thing you need to understand about this grab, and one thing you will understand once you get grabbed, is how big this grab range is. It is enormous. I mean, I just barely got out of, or barely avoided the grab here. And from another perspective, you can literally get grabbed by this guy behind him. You can be behind the Geodult and still get grabbed by this lunge. It's absolutely ridiculous. So when you're navigating this, just please be careful. Quick turn back, wait for the lunge, and quick turn forward. Here we're running towards the last Geodult, and what we can do with the spark shot is we can actually just shoot this Geodult in the water and run by. It's really nice to do with the spark shot, but it is this guy has a really finicky hitbox, and you got to just kind of mess around and practice with it to actually hit the shot here. That's a very common thing with Geodults, is having very fucky hitboxes. And one important note here when you're spark shotting the Geodult is you need to wait for it to move forward before you shoot it, otherwise you'll get stuck on it. So you can see in the clip here, Cat waits just a little bit for it to start moving and then shoots. A little frame by frame. You can see it's moving forward here. It's moved forward more than enough for her to get by. Here is another beginner strat that works with and without the spark shot. Just going to spawn the Geodult in and climb up. And wait a little bit for the Geodult to do its grab, and then drop down into the water and run by. And lastly, for this Geodult here, we have the 3-shot strat. This is the most tricky, obviously, as you can see. And of course, it is the fastest. So we need at least 2 of the bullets here to spray out this blood. So we need at least 2 shots to hit his eye here. Again, hitbox, super weird. You need to just experiment with this for yourself to understand how exactly to hit the eye. And yeah, I mean, it is just as simple as shooting the eye at least 2 times and shooting the body shooting the body once if you don't hit the eye 3 times. Jumping over here now to G2, I'm going to explain a few things. First thing I want to explain is a cool piece of tech to pull out your sub-weapon faster. This is useful specifically here, but more so later in labs, but I want to explain it right now since I have a moment to. So if you're moving, and then you pull out your sub-weapon, and you also hold aim for the gun. So in my case, it's going W, space, right-click. Space, right-click. It pulls out your sub-weapon. You can pull out a flash, a grenade, or the knife. It pulls it out about 0.15 seconds faster, similar to a shift boost, actually. This is a piece of tech that I found, actually, quite a while ago. I feel like not a lot of people make use of it. Probably because people just don't really know about it. But yeah, it's quite useful for this specific spot. And now I'm going to explain how to throw this grenade to skip this first phase of G2, where he sticks his hand through the ceiling a bunch of times. It basically just involves landing a grenade in this general area as soon as he sticks his hand through the ceiling for the first time. So from the panel here, we're just going to run backwards, and I'm going to look straight down because it makes it a little bit easier. And once you see this part of the floor grate come into view, you can start throwing the grenade. So panel, run backwards, look straight down, see the grate. You can do it a bit sooner. You can can do it a bit later. It's honestly quite generous. And yeah, ladies of G2. Alright, so we're starting off the bulk of the G2 fight now. First things first, this is quite an important detail actually. As he's busting through the shutter here, you want to run to his left. You want to make sure you're on his left. It's a bit faster, and it ensures a better pattern. As you can see, Cat is doing these little stutter steps along the path. The reason for this is if you're doing G2 with the spark shot, you need to be slow enough that he does a swing here. So you can do this whatever way you prefer to slow yourself down. You can walk, or you can aim down sight for a bit. Whatever the case may be, just you need to make sure you're slow enough so that he swings here. Now we're going to go over to the button, hit that, and important note here, there's two patterns for when G2 does his swing up here. He can do a fast drop, so by this point he would already be on the platform with us, or he can do the slow drop here, where by the time we can aim over here, he's still not even ready yet. Again, need him to swing up there, quick turn, hit the button for the first time, wait for him to drop down. We're going to hit a spark shot on his shoulder eye here, just wait for it to go off. We're going to run over to him and start knifing him on the floor. Remember, our goal here for this fight is to get him below 50% health. Once he's below that threshold, he dies to one hit from the crane. Also, here with the spark shot route, we're going to want to slash until our knife is about to break. You can see Cat's knife. You can see the health down here. It's 69 health. Nice. But you can track it by pressing 2 over and over and over again, or 1, or whatever, just while holding space. Once our knife is about to break, we're going to do a knife swap. So Cat is going to select a full health knife, or almost full health knife, in the inventory, and then she's going to equip the handgun. So this is something I'll show later at G3, but by equipping or unequipping a gun after equipping a new knife, you will continue to slash. There won't be any animation of Claire putting the knife away and taking the new one out. So it's very important to select fresh knife and then equip or unequip your gun. Now here you can see she's slashing until G2 is below 50%. Once he's below 50%, she runs over, presses the button for the crane, grabs these bullets. She waits for him to charge at her here, just kind of runs around, and grabs the knife first. You want to grab the knife first for a more optimal inventory, and then the flash in the corner there. And then the crane should come in, smash G2, and that is the G2 fight with the spark shot. And next up for G2 strats, we have the knife strat, or the no spark shot strat. This one also has two patterns. I'll also just want to point out, with this variation of this strat, you don't have to wait. You don't have to slow yourself down here. You just run from the shutter to the next platform. We don't want G2 to slash up there because it'll be much slower. So here you can see Cat pushes the button, runs backwards, and then G2 does this big attack. So after you press the button, you want to just run backwards towards the crane here, and then quick turn backwards, because we want to bait out his attack by running towards him, and then quick turn backwards. So here you can hear him doing a big roar, so he did a jump there. As you can see, we're just slashing. One thing that helps when you get the jump is getting behind G2. It makes it a lot easier to get this mini stagger here. And then we do a bit more, and we get this stagger to the floor. For the knifing, you pretty much just want to look straight down and sort of let Claire run into G2 with the knife. As you can see, with this variation of the strat as well, you want to hit the button as optimally as possible. So as the moment you can hit the button, you want to hit the button. And you just got to learn the timings for this. You can count how many slashes you're doing, or you can just, do the fight a few times and get a feel for how many slashes you're able to do. As you can see, Cat was able to get you to all the way down to 50.2% before hitting the button. And she runs back for another slash here. It's a little bit extra damage. Put her over the mark. And bait out this running slash there. Grab the items. Fight is done. And then next we have the other pattern, which is definitely the worst of the two. Here goes with the second RNG that you can get with this strat. It is the triple slash. So you can see she runs over, baits the swing. It's a triple slash attack that he does there. And you have to wait out all 3 swings before you can get in there. This does delay you slightly, so it makes it harder to deal enough damage in the allotted time. But you can see here, Cat is just gonna lay into him with the knife, letting Claire run into him with the slashes and then backing up slightly. It's all about the knife angle. See, it's a bit tighter here, but it's the same concept, just requires some practice, and there you go. Okay, and now we're jumping into labs. Assuming you are doing the spark shot route, there is an ammo pickup here. We really want to pick these up in the corner, just right on this little table. And an important note for picking these up, you want to have 3 spark shot shots remaining going into labs. That way when we reload here, we'll have 7 plus 0. So in order to get that, you will probably just need to waste 1 or 2 shots while you're in the elevator down into labs. Continuing here in this first part of labs, we are going to drop down this spot, pick up the knife that's in the kitchen here, and head to grab the first wristband upgrade, slot it in, and we're going to grab the spark shot attachment that's in this locker here. Point ourselves towards the door, and because we have the spark shot, a wonderful spark shot, we're able to just shoot this armored zombie with it and run away. Here we're going back to the non-spark shot route. We're following the same idea here. We're dropping down into the kitchen, grabbing the knife, and we're headed to pick up the wristband upgrade. Grab that, quick turn out, shoot this guy once in the head. Very quick little menu here. This is very important. If you don't have a hip pouch, and you're doing the optimal route, of course, you're going to need to discard the knife that's here. Usually it's in slot 3, and then move your bullets from slot 1 to slot 3. We do this here so that the herbicide container pickup goes in the first slot later, very shortly actually. I want to note about this guy as well. This guy has 3 patterns, or at least 3 that I can recall. One is the worst one, which is when he's on the other side of this door. Sometimes you can literally see his gear clipping through this door. And when you come out of this room, he will lunge. He will miss you. At least he has in my experience. He'll miss you, but he'll try and lunge towards you as soon as he sees you. And he'll end up camping outside of this door. And it can be really awkward to shoot him. The other one that I got in this run is, I'd say, the most normal one. You hear him growl there as you exit the room, and it basically just means he's far away, and you'll be able to pop him once or twice. Another important note, we are on DA rank 6, if you can see that. And zombies at DA rank 6 can tank headshots. They can just not get staggered when you headshot them. It only happens every once in a while on DA6, and it's a pretty rare chance for it to happen, but this guy certainly can do it. And one more pattern here for this guy is when you exit the kitchen here, if you don't hear him growl there, it does mean that you can get by for free without shooting him, but you need to take a precise line. And unfortunately, I do not have a clip of that on hand, but it would essentially be, you would exit this room, head to the right here, and the guy should be over on the left, like kind of going towards the left wall, and you can just run to the right side and avoid him. Here's a piece of tech that I forgot to include at the beginning of the video. You may have heard me mention it a couple times here. It's called a quick draw. Essentially what it is a very, very slightly faster way of shooting your gun. You can see here Claire takes a little bit to kind of pull the gun up to her face before she shoots it. You can cancel this, part of this animation, by pulling out your sub-weapon with spacebar. You can see I pressed it here. Thank you, VLC. So I hit space, wait a second, and then shoot. The timing for this is you basically want to wait until the gun enters the holster before you start aiming. And then you can hold right click and left click at the same time. This saves an incredibly small amount of time, but it does save time every shot. That's why this is labeled as an expert level strat, is because I wouldn't recommend it for anyone other than people competing at the top level, because it just doesn't save a lot, and it makes shooting quite a bit harder. Here's a very quick recap for the lab codes and the water puzzle. This keypad is just like a numpad in this little graphic here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you got it. The 2 codes for this are 3, 1, 2, 3 and 2, 0, 6, 7. Mixed. Here's the water puzzle now. The code is just red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green. Again, like I mentioned earlier, that can just be boiled down to RGB, RGB, RG. Very easy to remember. So in this room here, as we're headed up the stairs to grab the signal modulator, there is a zombie that will fall down from the stairs right here where this blood spatter is on the ground. And you can get by him just by simply quick turning at the corner very optimally. The movement for the unfortunate thing about this is I don't really have advice. It's just have good quick turns and make it past. So just practice this a few times going up these stairs and get used to the movement, the double quick turns into the stair skates, and you can get past this guy without him falling on you. I would say more, but like I said, it's unfortunately just a case where you need to practice the movement, and that's with most things in this game, is just practicing the movement, and most of the problematic points become much more trivial. So coming back down the stairs is quite a process. With the spark shot though, it's really, really nice. So you can see here, Cat is going to grab the signal modulator, come back down from the corner, spark shot this first guy, quick turns, spark shot this second guy. As you can see, it's quite trivial with the spark shot. This is honestly one of the biggest benefits of the spark shot route, is making this incredibly easy. Just take your time and shoot these guys. You don't have to be as optimal as Cat is being here. The zombies stay stunned for quite a while when you hit them with this. Here you can see what this room should look like without the spark shot. Come back down, turn towards this guy, shoot him once in the head. Be careful, since we are on DA6, he can tank that headshot. This first guy doesn't really tank though. It's extremely uncommon for this first guy to tank, something to do with his animations. The second guy, however, as you can see in the clip, can tank very often. He tanked a headshot in my PV, just had to kind of pause and react. And yeah, moving on. Also, another thing to note here is this second zombie can be completely out of position. So I'll show a clip here. This clip is from the final round of Sneevel's tournament back in 2024. So as you can see, the first guy is totally normal, and the second guy is right in my face. I'm not ready for it whatsoever, but I managed to save myself a little pause buffer. So just be careful, be on the lookout for this guy being super close here. Now we're jumping into the most notoriously difficult area for both beginners and more advanced runners of this run. This is the lab liquor section. I'm going to show just a normal speed instance We're going to do a shot on the ceiling here, run forward a bit, and then throw a flash. Hope those two lickers are on the ceiling. It's not actually luck-based, but we'll get into that in a bit. Solve this puzzle. And run backwards. If we've done everything right and the lickers are in a good position, we can just run by here and make it into the low temp lab here. So let's take it slow. First things first. For this shot manip, you wanna be shooting the ceiling, just like as you can see, like I'm angled to be looking, so I can't see the lickers. The lickers are not visible, and also you want Claire to be quite a bit past this pillar on the wall. I think it's reliable to go to this line in the wall here. I don't think I am 100% positive that if you shoot the ceiling at this spot, both of the lickers will jump onto the ceiling, and then we flash them, and because they're on the ceiling, they're flashed for a longer period of time. So yeah, run to this part of the wall, shoot the ceiling, and then we're going to start, well, here you can see I do a shift boost after shooting. This is just to make a little bit more distance, but it is totally unnecessary. You can just walk or you can stand still. You just need to be essentially quick enough through this room that the lickers can't hit you when you're coming back through. And because we're shooting at that point of the wall, we should have plenty of time. So long as you don't get staggered by the flash, and let's explain that. There's two crucial factors to avoiding getting staggered by the flash. One, make sure your camera is centered here. You don't want to be looking too high or too low, because that will make the flash travel higher or lower, obviously, and it will not get as much horizontal distance away from us. And also, you need to do a stutter step. You need to let go of forward for a moment while you're chucking the flash. Otherwise, it will hit you if you just hold W the whole time. So just as you can see, I'm letting go of W here for just a little bit, and then resuming, holding forward again. So shoot the ceiling around here, throw the flash, stutter step, run forward. Running over to the first signal modulator puzzle. The solution for this on default keybinds is QDSSS. Next up, I'm going to show a clip of another success of lab lickers, and then I'm going to show a bad case. This bad case can happen just naturally. Sometimes you just get unlucky and you get a zombie close in the hallway, but it can also happen because you're too slow in the previous signal modulator stairs room, the one behind us here. As I said, here is another clip of successful lab lickers. Again, we're running to this point of the wall, shooting the ceiling, running forward a little bit, checking the flash. Another quick reminder here, you can quick throw equipment by holding space plus right click. You can see both of the lickers were super far forward here, which is actually quite nice. It makes running by them a little easier. Another little detail, actually, as with a lot of interacts in the game, as you approach walls, your character will tend to slow down. And if you W tap or aim tap just before you are about to connect with this slowing down point, you can avoid it and get into the wall quicker, essentially. So you can see I do a little W tap there. Solve the puzzle, start running backwards. Lickers are chilling over here. They wake up just before I pass them, which makes them turn around. And there you go. And lastly, for this part of lab lickers, I want to show a rough case here. So sometimes you'll have a zombie quite close to you in the hallway. This case, as you can see, he was pretty much where you would usually like to shoot the shot. So you're in this clip, Cat shot a bit earlier than what I was showing before. This does work sometimes for some people. Like, It's sort of difficult to explain. I used to shoot around this pillar, and it would work sometimes. And it kind of stopped. And then I found on my own that for me, shooting when I reached this line in the wall was much, much more reliable. But obviously, in certain cases like this, where the zombie is so far up in the hallway, you actually really can't do the shot manip from this spot. So here you can see Kat is shooting quite a bit earlier, right around the pillar, and then she's doing the same thing. She's immediately throwing the flash after running forward a little bit. And a cool thing you can do here is after the flash comes out, you can let this zombie grab you, and then the flash will cancel the grab, and you can continue running. So here, Kat still, even though she shot at the pillar, was able to get both on the ceiling. Like I said, this is reliable for some people sometimes. I'm not sure why exactly it works sometimes and not others, but I know the other spot works very consistently. And yeah, so even though the zombie was in the hallway there, she was still able to get through very cleanly without losing any time despite the bad RNG. Coming back through lab liquors after we have frozen the herbicide, it's actually quite a lot easier to get through this one. Be careful here, there can be zombies in the hallway. It's pretty uncommon, but there can be zombies literally camping the spot where you want to throw the flash. I don't know what to tell you about how to handle that. I would say just try and shoot them if they're there. If you can run around them, run around them. I don't know, it's just a really awkward thing to see, and it happens hardly ever. And I wouldn't know exactly what to do in the moment either, but yeah. So we're entering the room. There's these little blood spatters on the ground. I like to run past this one and then start throwing the flash. And the same rules apply for throwing the first flash earlier. You want to do a stutter step, and you want to make sure your camera's centered. And we're going to quick turn here, and make sure you're looking backwards here, otherwise the liquors will turbo and hit you. If you find yourself in a situation where you know a liquor is turboing towards you, you can do this cool dodge here that Kat shows off. You can just aim backwards just before they reach you, and then run back, and there you go. That's how you dodge a liquor turboing you. And this last clip here for a liquor dodge is definitely more of an expert level strat. It involves doing an aim bait on the liquor as it's turboing towards you. So Kat does a little bait by aiming the gun just before the liquor is about to reach you, and this makes it slow down, and then its attack will miss. You have to aim tap for a very short amount of time, as you can see here, just slowing yourself down just enough so that the liquor slows down, but you're able to maintain enough speed to get away from its slash. Moving past the lab liquors now, we have another enemy encounter with IVs after we climb up this ladder. There's a really cool shot manip here that Kat found that will change the IV's behavior. Generally, it gives much better cases than the one I got in this run, but unfortunately here I got something that can happen whether you do the shot manip or not, which is we have an IV here, and it has its back turned to me. So I couldn't get a good shot on its bulb there. So what I did was I just ran up behind it and knifed it. This is a really useful way of getting by IVs with their backs turned to you. You have plenty of time to just slash them and go. And the slash is very, very easy to get us done with. So to explain this area a bit more though, when you come up this ladder, you have a chance of seeing 0 IVs in the path, 1 IV, or 2 IVs. They are pretty much localized to this region and one over here. So usually you'll see, if you have 2, it'll be one over here, one over here. One weird quirk with the shot manip is this guy over here, not this guy, but the hypothetical guy that can be over here will end up walking up the stairs. So just be cautious if you see, just be cautious when you turn this corner. You may see an IV on the stairs if you do the shot manip. And yeah, the getting around IVs is really just boils down to shoot their yellow bulbs and run by them. But they have an insane grab range, and they're very dangerous, especially if you don't have an extra defensive item, which if you are picking up the hip pouch or doing the spark shot route, you should have an extra knife heading into labs. assuming nothing's went terribly wrong. So you do have some defense against the IVs. And another thing I want to mention here is there is this other path you can take. You can see there's this left staircase that you can go up, and then you go to the right and then go into back into the room where we picked up the herbicide container. This path is a little bit over a second slower, and in my opinion, it's really dangerous to go that way. So unless you see two IVs like clumped up here, it's probably best to just go this straight path and shoot their bulbs. But if you do end up needing to take the left path, be super aware of this IV. I don't think it's here in the video, but there is an IV that is very often right here, right around this light. And if you take the left path, this guy has a huge chance of grabbing you. So just be on the lookout for that and shoot it if you need to. Now, after grabbing the second to last wristband upgrade, we're going to come back into the greenhouse control room, and there's going to be an IV on the other side of this door. I don't really have much to say about this guy. He's generally never, ever, ever a problem, but it is because of your movement out here that determines what he is like. So you need to have good stair skates, and you need to enter this room well in order to get by this guy freely. If you're feeling unsafe, you can turn to the left here and go around this table. But yeah, the counter to this guy is to just get into the room well and exit quickly. And a cool thing you can do with the spark shot here, as you can see, this is another wonderful thing you can do with the spark shot. It really does just disable enemies if you have the ammo for it. We need to have at least 3 bullets for G3. And as you can see, Kat had 4 here, so she was able to shoot this IV once and just stun it. An IV in this position, if you see an IV here, if you just run through the room, it will never grab you. The IV is effectively asleep right now. You have all the time in the world to just run by it. But for the example here, I wanted Kat to show what it's like if you see an IV in your way that you can't just run by. So yeah, if you have the spark shot, you can just shoot it and go. If you do not have the spark shot, here's one of the many encounters you can have with this final IV. It's just aggroed instantly, and it's over in this area, and it's walking towards you. It's very common. You'll probably see this quite a lot. And what you have to do, with the spark shot, just shoot him with the spark shot if you have the ammo. But here, what I did, because I don't have the spark shot in the clip, is I just shot his yellow bulb. Probably don't shoot it like me. I'm kind of trying to go fast. This is a little aggressive. Definitely take your time. These bulb shots are not that easy to hit. And please do keep in mind there is a second IV in this room, and he is always in this corner. If you're too slow, this guy can be a threat. But if you make it through the room cleanly, he will pretty much just chill over there in the corner. And now I'm going to show one more example of what this room can look like. I can't show everything, or I can't show every pattern you could potentially see in this room, but I wanted to show the 3 common ones. And the third one here is what I got in my PB. Okay, and finally for these last 2, here is my PB. You can see the case I got here. The IV is just hanging out in the middle of the room, walking in the direction that I want to go. On Claire, this is probably 99% free. On Leon, it's a different story, but in this case, as you can see, when they're in this position, if your movement is clean through the room, it'll lunge towards you too late, and you can just run out of the room. Heading over to the second and final signal modulator puzzle in the run here. We're going to interact with it, examine our signal modulator, and then the keys for this on default keybinds are E, A, S. Or I guess that would be right bumper, left down. Okay, we have finally come to G3, which is one of the... It is what I will be explaining in the most intricate detail. I'm going to be showing you 3 different strat variations that you can do, one with the spark shot, 2 without it. For this fight, with the spark shot, you need to have at least 3 spark shot rounds. You need to have the spark shot attachment, so please remember to grab that from the locker after you grab the first wristband upgrade. And you also need to have 3 knives, or 2.5. You actually can handle this with like 2 and a little bit extra. So what we're going to do, jumping into the fight, Cat is going to skip the cutscene, and you're just going to hold left click and right click. Now, assuming you don't move your mouse whatsoever, the spark shot will always hit the knee eye. Just make sure you don't move your mouse whatsoever. And don't move forward or left or back or whatever. Just stand still, lift your mouse off your mouse pad if you need to, and hold left click and right click. Then what she's going to do is she's going to move left and back up a bit. Once this knee eye pops, she's going to shoot the second one. There's a little trick with the spark shot to shoot it faster, and I'll explain that a little bit later. And after the shoulder eye pops, she is going to shoot the back eye here. This is a very tricky shot, just take some practice. The hitbox for it is it's very deceiving, and it's actually a bit bigger than it seems. So once you've fired that third shot, obviously you can see she's backing up more. Backing up. And then once the eye pops, she's going to run around his back. Make sure you run on his left rather than going around him on the other side. It's much faster this way. And she's just going to start knifing. The knife does a huge amount of damage, and after about 13 slashes on his back, you're going to want to rotate to his front. And also a trick here, when you're swapping between knives, you can see she's checking to see how much knife durability she has. As the knife approaches a low health threshold, you're going to swap your knife in the inventory and equip or unequip a gun. What this will do is it will cancel an animation where Claire puts the knife away and pulls the new one out. What this does is it just allows for a continuous stream of knife slashes. Like I said, after 13 slashes, she's going to rotate to his front and start knifing his chest eyes. Here you can see she's doing very, very good damage with these slashes. One more knife swap, equip the knife, equip a gun, and boom, G3 is dead. So with the spark shot fight, you actually have quite a bit of leniency. You can see there's so much time here while G3 is just hanging out doing his transformation. In a little bit, you're going to see how long this transformation actually lasts and how much time Cat had to kill G3 here before losing out on the 1 cycle. The 1 cycle means killing G3 before he goes over and grabs this big wall. That loses about 15 to 20 seconds, I believe, if you're not able to kill him in time. And yeah, let's talk about this spark shot quick shotting as well. So once the spark shot pops here, you can see Cat is still holding left click and right click, but as soon as you recognize that the shot has gone off, you've done damage to him, you can let go of right click. You can see she does it very, very quickly here. Let's see if I can capture the frames where she's not holding it. So you let go of aim just for a moment and then hold it again. And what that does is it will allow you to shoot the next shot much faster. You can try this yourself in game to get an idea of how much quicker it is. And the knife slashing technique here, I will get into more in the advanced and expert level fights. But as you can see, just pay attention to what Cat does here, right? She's standing back, not too close, not too far, and she's just letting the knife go through G3's back. When you rotate, you want to be facing him at a slight angle to make sure the knife is traveling through him the most amount of time possible. yeah, G3 is something that takes a lot of practice to get used to, but this spark shot fight is very lenient, so it is a great way to start out with fighting G3. You know what, just for good measure, let's watch the fight in normal speed. Just because. Now we're going to be jumping into the advanced fight. This fight does not use the spark shot, and we just need 3 full knives for it, and also 5 handgun rounds. So we're going to start the fight here by shift boosting towards G3, and we're going to knife the knee eye. You pretty much want to be at, it's not exactly a 90-degree angle, let's say an 80-degree angle here, pointed away, like perpendicularly to G3 to get the knee eye in one shot. It doesn't have to be in one knife, but one is ideal. Then we're going to shoot his back eye. It pops in 1 or 2 shots. 1 means you got a crit. And very importantly here, you want to be either on G3's side, or as you can see here, Kat does it absolutely perfectly. She's much to the left. She's not behind G3 when she's shooting the back eye. She's essentially in front of him or just at his side. And the reason for that is if you shoot his back eye from behind him, he's gonna stagger to the left here, and we don't want that. So she's gonna shoot twice. She's gonna run to the left, shoot his shoulder eye and head a couple times, and crucially, she's going to be not moving, and she's going to be standing quite a bit to his left here. So make sure you're not moving, and make sure you're standing to the left. That will bait out G3's slam attack. And then we're going to run over, slash his shoulder eye, and then run to his back just like before, and start slashing. Swap your knife when you get close. There is a little animation G3 does here that I use to indicate when to rotate, but you can also just count the number of slashes you do. I believe it's around 14, 15, 16 slashes before you rotate to his front. The animation I look for is right here. It's a bit easier to see in full speed. Let's do that again. Right here, you can see he lifts his body quite a bit, like he's trying to get up, but doesn't, and that is a good indicator for when to rotate to his chest. Keep slashing, slashing, slashing. Very good knife slashes there on his chest eyes. These fights are all about maximizing the time you spend with the knife inside of his body. You can see Kat just absolutely destroying him there while he's transforming. One thing I want to note that I probably should have mentioned before, but I'll mention now. One of the reasons why you don't want to be too close to G3 when you're slashing his back is because your knife can actually clip through his body and hit his chest eyes. And if at any point in the fight you connect with his chest eyes, it will initiate him getting up. So you have to be very careful to not hit his chest eyes before the rotate. And going over the knife angles here, it's the same as before, right? You want to be at a slight diagonal angle to G3 while slashing his chest eyes. The most difficult slashes to get good damage on is when he's getting up here. So you can see Kat is looking almost straight down, kind of trying to correct herself and align herself with G3's body and make sure that the arc of the knife slash that's mostly on the right there is going through G3's body for as long as possible. There was a cool knife swap tech that I will explain on the expert portion of the explanation as well. But just for now, we're going to watch this fight one more time in normal speed. Let's go back there. Pop the knee eye, 2 shots to the back, 2 to the shoulder, 1 to the head. Stand still, to his left, Shoulder eye. Bunch of slashes on his back. Rotate. Make sure you're angled here. Keep trying to go for those chest eye slashes. Here at the end, this is an angle where you're essentially, it's a similar thing to when you're knifing his chest eyes on the rotate, but you want to be standing at his leg here and looking, we're looking for the knife slash to go diagonally between his leg all the way up to his chest eyes. Similar to the way you knife slash G1 by looking straight down. There you go. And finally for G3, we have the very, very hard strat. This is a similar start to the advanced strat, except you knife the back eye here. And firstly, before we get into the bulk of the fight, I want to explain who this is for. So, people watching this video who want to learn this strat probably don't need me to explain it to them, because you're already at a level where this is something that you need to be doing. This fight saves, I think, ideally it's probably 3 or 4 seconds faster than the previous advanced strat, but it is much, 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 much harder. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to use 5 bullets on the shoulder eye to pop it much earlier. We're not going to be baiting out G3's ground slam attack that we did in the previous one. We're just going to be popping his shoulder eye like right after we pop the back eye. I want to send a shout out to Mondo again for coming up with this strat, the 5-shot on the shoulder eye. But this variation of the strat was found by a Chinese runner named Shots. And this strat, you do not stop firing. In Mondo's, you ended up not firing for a chunk of the fight, but this one is just raw fucking 5 shots back to back to back to back to back. So we're gonna knife in the eye, pop the shoulder eye, or sorry, pop the back eye. The knife angle for this is pretty tricky, but basically a rule of thumb, you don't want to be looking directly at it. You want to be looking slightly to the right, slightly off to the right here, and that will ensure that your knife slash hits the back eye. Run to the left, start aiming, and just don't stop shooting the shoulder eye. I don't have to explain to you how hard that is. It's as hard as it looks. Very, very difficult to execute. The rest of the fight, though, is the same, but I do want to explain a cool knife swap tech you can do. So here you can see Kat is doing the 3rd knife swap, or the 2nd knife swap. She's swapping to the 3rd knife here. If your gun is unequipped, you can equip the knife in the inventory and then exit immediately. And then as you come out of the inventory, you let go of space for a moment. You see Kat is not holding space as she's coming out of the inventory. And as she comes out of the inventory, she presses 2. And what this does is while the knife slash is happening, she's equipping the gun, which is then canceling the same thing we were doing before where we were equipping or unequipping the gun in the inventory. You can do the same thing but by equipping the gun outside of the inventory. And obviously this only works if your gun starts unequipped, so we'll only do this on the 2nd knife swap. Equip the knife, press 2, then go back to holding space and M1. There's also this technique that I discovered and have made use of while I've been running. One of the ways in which you can help with getting your knife to travel through G3's body for as much time as possible is to be flicking your camera. You can see Kat making use of it here. Sort of dragging her camera to the left while the knife is passing through G3 will actually allow for the knife to pass through him for more frames. And there you have it. That's G3. Lastly, before we jump into G4 and the outro and miscellaneous stuff, I wanted to show off this cool trick here at the door with Sherry. If you line yourself up pressed up against the wall, and with this rung and this guardrail here, you can run forward shift boost just as the door passes you here, and then do an aim quick turn, and that will let you get past Sherry. This is a very small time save, but it's still something I wanted to mention. Finally, we have the last little bit of the run that I'm going to dive into here. The explanation for G4 here is going to be me showing two variations of the fight. One is an advanced variation, and the other is a bit more beginner friendly. Unfortunately, this fight in general is not beginner friendly whatsoever, but there is a progression to it. There is a perfect kill, a perfect fight, which is probably one of, if not the hardest thing to achieve in the run, the super knife kill, and I'll explain the names of these things. The reason I'm not doing a super deep dive into G4 though is because there's already an incredible guide for G4. Mondo a long time ago made a almost 40-minute video exploring G4 and how to handle him at different levels. So I'm going to link to that video for this video because the guide is just it's all the information you could need about G4, and me trying to explain all of that again would be a waste of my time because the video is already perfect. You should just refer to that one for all the G4 information. But I will absolutely give you two decent explanations of how to kill G4. So first we're going to start off with the beginner variation here. We are opening the fight. What I do is I hold A or hold to the left until my crosshair reaches around this this pipe, or this railing rather. And then I start holding backwards, and I'm just kind of shooting freely at the train because we have plenty of ammo to do so. And then after I start backing up a little bit is when I start aiming at G4, and we're going to try and pop as many eyes with the minigun as we can. I don't have a good explanation for this. Just try and aim at the eyes. The minigun aim is quite awkward. As you can see, I'm backing up, making sure G4 doesn't fall on me. Spraying as many eyes as I can. Let's go back here. Once he drops down, he's going to do this little get up animation. And like I said, you're going to try and pop as many eyes as you can. And then he's going to take 2 steps towards you here. Make sure you're not too close to him, otherwise he'll do an attack. 1, 2. That's when I start pulling out the knife. And then wait. And then do a knife slash. This is much more difficult than I'm making it look, of course. This is, after all, one of the most... It is the most complex fight to learn. So he takes 2 steps forward, I pull out the knife, do a slash, pop as many eyes as you can with the knife. And then he's going to climb up onto the wall here. And as soon as we do the knife slash, we're going to equip our grenade, press 1. And then you're going to wait for G4's hand to hit the wall and see these sparks fly. And then you're going to throw a grenade. Now what's going to happen here is he's going to fall back down, fall right in front of you. You want to stand where I'm standing here. You don't want to stand too far up, otherwise he'll turn around and you'll lose out on like 15 seconds worth of damaging him. Also, just to explain how the fight works, by the way, the fight ends when you pop 60 eyes. Once you pop 60 eyes, he's going to go into this dying phase where you're going to just spray him down with the minigun until he dies. So, yeah, after the nade, he's going to fall down here. We are going to wait, be patient here. The eyes are going to spawn. Time out a knife slash for the top row of eyes, and then move backwards a little bit and slash the bottom row of eyes. No great advice here, just practice the fight, as with most things in these games. And then after we pop those 2, we're going to run around him to his front side here, and then pull out our knife again. We're going to be patient, then do a few knife slashes to pop as many eyes as we can. And then we're going to wait again for the eyes to respawn, and then do another knife slash. You can time it with his scream here. It's the audio so you can hear it a bit better. Now, you can hear that distinct sound he makes. Scream. Now. There's basically 2 stages to his yell there, and you want to do it on the second stage. So this is what we call a knife kill. This is killing G4 not at the exact first moment that he can be killed, but the second moment that you can kill him. Bang. There you go. The super knife kill, which I'll show afterwards, is killing him at a different spot. And once you get the knife kill here, you can just run away. He goes into this phase where he blows out a bunch of smoke, and you just mow him down with the minigun, pop as many eyes as you can. The minigunning here is actually quite precise, but again, I don't know exactly how to explain it to you beyond just aim at the eyes. I don't even know how to do it myself exactly, because sometimes you kill him super fast there. But yeah. If you are not able to kill him in this slash here for the knife kill, don't worry. You have plenty of time here. He's gonna slash over, and then you'll just have to minigun as many eyes as you can. Yeah, so let's jump into the more advanced fight now. And what better way to cap this guide off than the super knife kill? So let's dive into the advanced G4 strategy. This one saves about 2 seconds over the knife kill, and is aside from hardcore G4, this is the hardest fight in the game to execute perfectly. So the fight starts off the same way. We're gonna move to the left, move backwards, pop as many eyes as we can. Try and prioritize these bottom ones while you can still hit them, because you see he hides a little bit there and you can only shoot the top row. Once he drops down, instead of continuing to minigun him, we're gonna run forward once he's fully down, that way he doesn't stagger us. Step back, run forward, wait, delay yourself, be patient here. Do a knife slash as he's getting up, minigun some eyes. If you see any in the middle or on the bottom, you should pop those first. And then we're going to shoot, obviously shoot the eyes that you see that you haven't popped from the knife slash, and then prioritize the top row, as we can't hit those with the knife slash that we're about to do here. Drop down, knife slash while he's getting up. Pop the eyes we can see. Shoot as many as we can. Once he takes 2 steps forward, pull out the knife once again, and then do another knife slash, the same one as before. Same nade timing, wait for the sparks. You can throw before the sparks, but it's dangerous. Same thing here, we're waiting for his eyes to pop up, rotate around, and that is the super knife kill. That is killing him the first frame that he can be killed. You have to pop as many eyes as possible in order to get this kill. Let me try and do a better job of explaining this end part though. So we're patiently waiting once he has fallen back down onto the ground to do 2 slashes here, knife the top row, knife the bottom row, rotate around him, do 1 slash. Sometimes you can do you can do 2. You can do as many slashes as you want here as he's getting up, but you have to be careful because you don't want to pop every single eye that is spawned in. Here you can see I did 1 slash and then another one that didn't pop any eyes. And we basically want, in this region of his body, the bottom left part of his body, we want there to be eyes left. That way we have enough eyes to kill him as soon as he activates. Basically, as soon as he starts attacking, we kill him, but you can't even see him start the attack because of how fast it is. So as he gets up there, you want to time that final slash with that static animation ending, and he will die. Okay. So let's do that in full speed. Minigun as many eyes as you can on the lower half. Continue minigunning. Move backwards. Go for the knife slash. Be patient. Pop a few eyes there. Wait for him to take 2 steps forward. Slash. Grenade. Patient. Knife, knife. Rotate around. Get as many eyes as you can on the right side of his body, and bang. There we go. That is the super knife kill. So just as a last little tidbit before I go to the outro here, I wanted to show off the trainer, and just a little bit about how it works and how to use it and what it's useful for. This will be linked in the description. The one that's available on Nexus Mods is a newer version that I don't think is good to use. It sort of changes some things about the game that we don't want to change, and just using this exe that's linked in the description is a lot better and a lot less intrusive on the game. So here I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. So you just download this file, open the trainer here. You can see we have a few options. You can change your speed, your health. You can use it to do a lot of very useful things. I use some of these features to get some shots for the video. But the absolute most important feature for us is right here. Go into the Miscellaneous tab, scroll down, the Quick Save Manager. This allows you to make a save anywhere in the game. So let's just say, in this case, we want to make a save at the Lion Medallion. Run over to it. Ah, triple fish. That was not planned for the video, I swear. Just head in here, pick a save. We'll just do the autosave for the example. Hit save. Make sure you're not in the load game menu when you do this. It'll crash your game. And then here, we can go to load the autosave. Boom. New medallion. This is obviously useful everywhere. All of my saves here are made through the trainer because it's just so fast, it's so efficient. It helps with practicing everything. We can see here, here's a not cast relevant save, but I just have a furnace save right next to the wristband here. So yeah, make sure to download and use the trainer. It will help immensely with making your practice more efficient, and it can also just help you to getting save files set up without having to replay the whole game. Well, that is going to finally conclude this massive guide. Almost reached that 3.5 hour mark. I'm pretty content with the amount of detail in here, but obviously I couldn't exhaust every single tiny little detail in the run. So if you still have questions, you know, feel free to drop them in the comments or ask a question in the Discord. I want to send my most massive of thank yous to my lovely girlfriend Kat. She holds all 5 of the main category world records on Resident Evil 3 Remake, and we met because of speedrunning, and we made this video together. It's not just my video, it's our video. You can see the majority of the clips in the advanced guidance section were recorded by her. You can see her skin and her layout. And she also came up with a lot of the design choices. She made the thumbnail, and she came up with the really cool wristband idea to indicate the difficulty level for each strat. And also she made the suggestion for the opening cinematic shots. I had a lot of fun getting those, and I think they came out beautifully. So yeah, my most massive of thank you to her. Thank you, sweetie. And thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you got a lot out of this video. If you didn't learn anything, then I guess we didn't do our job, but surely you learned something, right? Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Drop a like, drop a sub. I'm not really a content creator, so my content is sparse, more of a speedrunner. But hey, when new games come out, you might see videos from me. You might not. Yeah, this game has changed my life, and met so many awesome people. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. Have a good day.